It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Micah Sargent joins Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis to show off his Vision Pro. We'll talk about the pros and the cons. Taylor Swift is mad at Jack Sweeney, the kid who's tracking her jet everywhere she goes. Blue Sky is open to all. And Paris shows us why she carries a pair of gardening shears with her everywhere she goes. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 754, recorded Wednesday, February 7th, 2024. Guerrilla Gardening. This Week in Google is brought to you by Babbel, the science-backed language learning app that actually works. Be a better you in 2024 with Babbel. Babbel uses quick 10-minute lessons, easy to use, handcrafted by more than 200 language experts, so you can start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Babbel's created to help you build real-world conversations. You start by learning how to order food, ask for directions, speak to merchants. I've used it for several languages. It's so great. And Babbel's wide range of learning experiences mean there's something for everybody, ranging from casual to intense. There's always a way to fit in a Babbel session, from self-study app lessons to podcasts to live classes where you can actually talk to other learners and really get those conversational skills going. 15 hours with Babbel is equal to one full semester at college. And it's really easy to get those 15 hours in. Plus, all of Babbel's 14 language courses are backed by their 20-day money-back guarantee. Now, I have a lifetime membership already, but if you don't, here's a special limited-time deal for our listeners. Right now, get 50% off a one-time payment for a lifetime Babbel subscription. And it's only for our listeners. Go to babbel.com/twig. Get 50% off at babbel.com/twig. babbel.com/twig. Rules and restrictions may apply. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, sort of. And and really not this week so much. Say hello to Paris Martineau of The Information. Hi, Paris.
Hi. You can Google our show. That counts.
That counts. Don't look now, but your plant is starting to inch towards you. Sneaking up behind you.
I'm definitely aware of that and not being held hostage by the plant. There's no reason to be alarmed or call any local authority.
Wig twice at us. You're okay.
I mean, wow. Is that a monstera?
It is a monstera, and
aptly named.
If I can, hold on. Let me see if I can. Look how big it is.
Wow. Wow.
You can't even capture it. It's like...
What are you feeding that thing?
Just water. I have had to move it from my bathroom because it was getting too much sunlight and too much humidity. So now
too much
out
room.
Here, and too much room. So now it's out here in the dry.
Do you crawl through the jungle to change that calendar, Paris?
I do, yeah. I don't change it. I think it is multiple months behind because I have not gone through the
This
plant.
is a picture of what it looked like in her bathroom. So it's good that really
that's true.
She moved it out of there.
You had to rent a
Very
second
important.
apartment just to fit it?
I did, yeah. And rent isn't cheap here in Brooklyn, so you really just got to start.
Did you
pulling
know
its
it's
weight.
also called the Swiss cheese plant, or
That's upsetting.
split leaf philodendron?
I did know that. I didn't know if it's Swiss cheese, but that makes sense because of the holes.
It's
in the
holy.
leaves.
Yeah.
It is a holy plant.
Oh, holy plant.
That is Micah Sargent, but I'm not going to introduce him yet. I'm going to say hi to Jeff Jarvis before we say, the regulars on the show. Jeff is deorbiting as a professor at the CUNY School of Journalism. What's his name? What is his name again? Craig Craig Newmark, graduate school of journalism at the City University of New York. Hi, Jeff.
I went to Civic Hall, which is this new wonderful space in New York yesterday for an event I'm holding in April. And Craig, the always generous, amazing Craig, has also supported it. And there is the Craig Newmark Auditorium there.
Wow. Very nice.
Very nice. And you look up and you straight up the avenue and you see the Chrysler Building. It's really quite wonderful.
And I want to thank Micah Sargent, who's sitting to my left. He's in studio
Hello.
bravely braving the Vision Pro headset. He's here to tell us all about. You're not wearing the top strap.
No, because this one's more photogenic.
Oh.
See what he does for the show? He gives
that.
himself a headache.
I do.
Not only that, he gave me this mug, which I really appreciate. World's best boss.
It's a lie.
The world's best boss has already told him that he has to return this Vision Pro.
And I said, thank you.
Yeah, I was surprised.
It's changed over time. I'll tell you that.
You
Leo.
got it on Friday.
I got it on Friday, and when I first put it on, as is the way of things, you go, holy moly, look at this. This is so cool. Watch what I can do. Watch me move my hands around. I'm getting exercise. It's amazing.
Woo!
And then the longer I've worn it for longer periods of time, the more I find myself having to convince myself to put it on again.
My prediction exactly of what would happen.
Yeah. Now, not everybody's feeling that way. I want to be clear that this has just been my personal experience.
And you're not, are you, and I hope this isn't the case. I hope you're not influenced by me and my negativity.
No, because I'm maybe unbeknownst to you, but I'm sort of secretly very, 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 very put off by peer pressure. And so
So actually, it's the opposite. By saying how bad it is, I'm encouraging you to love it.
yes, because I want to not be peer pressured.
You hate this.
Oh no, now I have to love it. Dang it. It doesn't work like that either. But my point is, I wanted to be sure that I was, I took my proper inoculations so that Leo's sort of feeling about it did not impact.
To be fair, I've been really trying to be open-minded about this thing. And I think my objection is not to this particular device. I think Apple's made an amazing piece of hardware. I think we both agree on that. My objection is to the category. I personally don't want to put something on a computer on my face.
And increasingly
it just seems like an immature category at this point.
Well, it's
it
definitely
doesn't seem like there are any particularly strong use cases at the moment that are better than the available options.
I should say, though, I first put on a VR helmet 30 years ago at SIGGRAPH in the early 90s. They had a demo. Now, it had a big tether coming out of the head going to a Silicon Graphics Onyx $1 million computer to generate the experience. And you sat on a saddle and held handles and you were flying. I don't know, it was wild. This is my first experience of it. I'll never forget it. It really imprinted. Flying a pterodactyl. And the seat moved and your head. It was very realistic. And so I've tried every one since.
Wait. It's realistic riding a pterodactyl. How would you know?
Well, that's what's cool. No, because you feel the wind in your hair. And it really feels like that's what's.
If I can hire someone to blow on me while I'm doing different things, then I can do some.
Jeff,
for $3,500, you definitely can.
Yeah. Have you ever tried one of these, Jeff, of any kind, the Oculus or Meta? Or anything?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Benedict Evans has been writing about it, saying that he just doesn't understand the use case.
Yeah.
He said you don't need a 6-foot wide spreadsheet.
I beg to differ.
Watching a movie that way doesn't really, do much for you. He says the same thing about ChatGPT. It was in the same tweet where we don't really ask questions this way, and there are technologies that are looking for their use case. But Lord knows that's what they said back in the day about laptops. Nobody's ever going to use laptops. How ridiculous!
Same with e-readers. I'm open to being proven wrong, but I think that in the current iteration, like I could see myself maybe using a AR display if it was built into my glasses for, I don't know, directions.
Yeah, but that's not.
But it seems like we're a while away from that.
And so I guess the reason I brought up the pterodactyl is to say this is not an immature technology. It's been around for at least 30 years.
I see.
And there have been many iterations at this. The Oculus Quest, the Rift rather, which was a Kickstarter, I think a decade ago. And so they've been working on this for a long time, and I think this is one of those technologies in search of an application. It's not that this is brand new. Now, this is the best possible iteration of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Genuinely, the resolution of these screens is incredible. The cameras let down the experience for you.
Hold your head still, will you, Micah?
Yeah, I'll try to be very still. I won't even move my lips, so that way. The cameras let down the experience because when you're looking out at things, it's very clearly in VR. But whenever you are looking at things that are actually being presented to you, that is crisp and clear and very cool. And this is what I'm saying. If it didn't hurt me as much as it does, and it wasn't as uncomfortable ultimately to be inside of this thing, then absolutely I'd be so down. So the idea that we're poo-pooing this and we're hating on it and this and that and the other, it's not this specific device so much as it is that every one that I have used has been an uncomfortable or unenjoyable experience in return for what I can do with it. Because I kind of disagree about the Excel thing. I have found it super cool to be able to have a huge page that I can do a bunch of stuff on. And then also I've got, music over here going on. And I do that with my computers already. I plug it in, I've got multiple displays, and I love that experience and genuinely enjoy that. It's just that the trade-off here is having to have this thing strapped to my face. And I think that's the point that Leo always gets back to. And where we do agree is cool that it can do all of this stuff, but in its current iteration, you're still taking this thing and strapping it in front of your eyes. And for, I think, a good number of people, that's not a comfortable thing to be doing.
You've had it on for about 10 minutes. Micah.
How you feeling?
How you feeling?
And let me say, I genuinely... I try to be better about this, but I'll say this. I don't like to feel stupid. And sometimes this thing makes me feel stupid.
I will say I've taken a photo of the video of you sitting there.
I don't mind if I look stupid. I don't like to feel stupid. And this thing makes me feel stupid sometimes, not because of me wearing it, but because I feel like I'm putting it on wrong every time. Again, if I could hire someone from Apple who would come and perfectly adjust everything so that it's how they intended it to be worn, I would feel a lot better about it too, because there are times where it doesn't feel as uncomfortable, times where it feels like it weighs 1 billion pounds on my face. I don't necessarily ever know if I've got it just right. Sometimes it'll pop up and say, hey, you need to move it closer to your eyes or further away from your eyes. There are little coaching moments, but I still am going, well, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I don't have it quite aligned. And so that's the reason why this looks blurry now, or when I'm trying to tap on something in virtual space, it's not working. That stuff is, they've got some polishing to do when it comes to that.
Let me take you back in time. To Friday.
Yes,
when you first put this thing on, and you were the dinosaur. You were feeding the dinosaur. And by the way, that's not a muffin on my table. Somebody said, what's that on your table? Is that a muffin? No, that's Micah's head.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
But this was, and I did this too, and the thing came out of the screen. They play a little game with you where it looks like it's trapped inside a 2D screen, but in fact, the head comes out of the screen. Same effect, by the way, you could see on billboards in Times Square in Tokyo. You were pretty impressed at this point, right?
Yeah, and I still am. Let me be clear. I love that experience. That was easily one of the coolest experiences. That and the experience we did later, we took some different 3D models and we threw them on the floor, and I was sitting down inside of an F1 car and looking at all the really modules.
Neat. Yeah.
I'm not, the complaints that I have are not negating how frickin' cool this thing is. It is absolutely super cool. It is high quality. It is all of these things. And this is the great thing about humans, is that we're able to hold competing ideas in our mind at the same time. We don't like to do it. We don't like the cognitive dissonance, but we can do it. And I can say, this is amazing, while also saying, it hurts. It hurts me.
It hurts me. Here you are, and there's obviously rapturous joy on your face as a butterfly lands on your finger. I mean, that's not fake.
No, that was genuine. Like, that was in the moment.
You were really excited about it.
Wow, the Apple Watch really adds something.
That does add to it, doesn't it? Wow. If anyone was like, sheeple over there, that was my
fanboy.
Well, I mean, if anybody's going to make this work, I was looking at my Kickstarter history, and this was the original in 2012. So 12 years ago, the Oculus Rift Palmer Luckey's Oculus Rift, which they raised $2.5 million. He later sold it to Meta. This was the grandfather of the Meta Quest. And the latest, the Quest 3, is probably the only reasonable competition to what Apple's put out. I've tried them all. I own several of them. I even have the Quest
They just
Pro
sit there.
Well, that was, and this is, I came really close. I mentioned this. My finger was hovering over the buy button 2 weeks ago when we could buy these. And I realized I'm going to buy this, and it's going to sit right next to the Quest Pro, gathering dust on the shelf. Because, and this is to me, this is the problem. It is really cool. I mean, it's wonderful when a imaginary butterfly lands in your finger, or you can talk to a dinosaur. But ultimately, it's not the kind of thing you reach for. You're already at that point less than a week later.
Yes, I personally am. And I have to say that I bet, Jeff, you know the term for this, if not multiple people. I guess it's kind of sunk cost theory, but we are driven to find positives in things that we have spent a lot of money on to convince ourselves and others that what we've done is a good idea.
They call it the IKEA principle.
So if
you like your IKEA furniture because you spent so much damn time building it.
There you go. I don't know if that's the one I'm looking for, but you get the idea.
In this case, money, not time.
Yeah, and I do.
And in this case, my money, not your money.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's why I am immune to that. I don't have that as much as the people that I've talked to who also have these, who are spending their personal funds on this.
If you put $3,500 into this,
you kind of have to be into
terrible.
it. You got to go, oh man, this, I love this thing and I want it. And I think that does play a role. I think we have to keep that in mind.
I wonder what the returns are going to look like. You get 2 weeks on this.
Me too.
And this is going to be an interesting test to see if people go, yeah,
we're never going to know.
Have you been using it, Micah, throughout the day while you're doing other activities?
I have, yeah. So especially at home, because I want to give it, the real college try, I guess. And so because of that, I've been using it regularly. And at home, one of the cool things, I was telling Leo about this before, the cool experience that I had was I was watching a movie, and it was a 3D movie because I wanted to see what a 3D movie would look like. And so I had pulled up the screen. It took up pretty much all of my view in my living room. And at one point I needed to go upstairs. And so I walked upstairs, and I could look down through the floor and see down on the bottom floor where the screen actually was. And then I could come back and sit back down, and it didn't move. Like, that is the magical stuff, that it is able to do that.
That's really cool.
That is so cool.
In fact, Jason Snell said by accident, he left his settings app in the garage and he couldn't find it.
Like, where are the settings?
There is a button you can push that brings everything back. This is a video on Reddit titled, "This Thing is Wild." And I'm looking at this. Guy is a developer, Python developer. He's in Marrakesh. He's in Morocco, in a beautiful tent near a pool. And he's playing with all this. In fact, in a little bit, he's going to get up and go by the pool. And he's saying, isn't this amazing? Look, I could do all this stuff. And I'm just saying, dude, you're in freaking Marrakesh. Tear the thing off your head and jump in that pool. What are you doing? What are you doing to yourself?
Get that order right.
Video, he's showing sitting with a Apple keyboard with 4 screens in front of him, one of which, this one that is now moving, is YouTube, but it was Google Maps, ChatGPT, something else. Like, you could just, for the average consumer, you could just have your 4 monitors or whatever.
Yeah, you can sit with your laptop and do that. You don't need 4 monitors. Yeah, just do it in your laptop.
So I put in the rundown, there were 2 stories. One was Ben Thompson taking, of course, a long time to basically say, I thought this thing was amazing when I first saw it in the demo, but now. And then the Washington Post arguing that everyone's using it wrong, that you're not supposed to have it on all day, that's ridiculous. Shira Ovid, who's wonderful, and that there's certain uses. So I think you wonder if this is going to be like Google Glass, and people are going to say that was cool for a while, but, or whether people are going to find ways to use it that actually makes sense. I don't know.
I hate the idea that one would spend so much money on a thing and then be told that the best way to use it is to not use it too often. That's wild to me. And I get...
It's not what Apple's pitching either.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's why they've done all of this pass-through technology, why they've put the silly eyes in the front, and they have orchestrated this so that you can wear it for longer periods of time. I gotta wonder, too, about the impact of having these lenses so close to your eyes. So I really am fascinated by sleep science and everything that's involved with sleep and your circadian rhythm and everything like that. And of course, we know that blue light is artificial light in general is a large enemy to the average human's ability to sleep. And having these screens so close to your eyes, blasting what are called your suprachiasmatic nuclei constantly.
Whoa, fancy.
Is
well done.
I'm kind of worried about that. And then also, I take it off, and if I've been wearing it for too long, depth is a little strange. What's it going to do to our eyesight in the long term? And how long did the people who made this, the people who worked on it, how long were they wearing it over periods of time? And is there some recommendation for how long you should wear it actually? There are a lot of unanswered questions when it comes to that. But yeah, this, put this on for 30 minutes and then be done with it. It's like,
well, the good news is you can drive your Tesla.
This was fake.
With it on. He says he just did it for it's not fake.
Sorry, it is happening. You're right.
It's actually happening.
Oh, no, it is fake.
No, listen to Paris.
My friend, a reporter, Caroline Haskins, I'll pull up the tweet. So in that video that Leo just showed, a man was driving his Tesla while wearing the Vision Pro. He seemingly gets pulled over. Cops are behind him flashing their sirens. Caroline Haskins, a tech reporter, said, I have an update in this video. The police department shown in the background of South Windsor, Connecticut, told me that they didn't pull this guy over, but rather stopped a separate vehicle in the area around this time.
Immediately pulled up.
Dante confirmed this to me. Dante added that he, quote, must have had the headset on while driving for no more than 10 to 15 second increments.
Right.
Probably in total combined no more than 30 to 40 seconds just to shoot the video.
I have to point out, though, that there are a lot of other people who did do it.
The pilot?
There are a number of people.
Line 93 as well.
Yeah. So the enough that Massachusetts lawmaker is proposing a law against it, although you don't need a law because, of course, it's distracted driving. Apple says you shouldn't do it. And even the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration have said it. In fact, the Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says, reminder, all advanced driver assistance systems available today require the human to be in control and fully engaged in the driving task at all times. The fact that Pete Buttigieg is worried,
yes,
does tell me there's, this is not fake. This guy is really in his cyber truck.
That seems real. Yeah.
Of course, you know what?
And of course, it's a Cybertruck.
Of course.
Yeah, that's got to be part of it.
When the PT Cruiser came out, I noted that a disproportionate number of PT Cruiser owners had personalized license plates.
Interesting.
There is something about the psychology of a Cybertruck owner.
It just lines up.
Yeah, the Venn diagram between Cybertruck owner and Vision Pro owner is a circle.
Yeah. Oh, no.
So, Michael, let me ask you two things. Okay. One, if it were, first, before you got it, could you have imagined saying, oh, Leo, please, can I keep it? I'll split the cost with you. That's so good.
Yeah.
Second question is,
sorry, go ahead.
If there was anything to drive you to say that, what's the one killer app that you think you actually might miss sending it back?
Interesting.
We did early on have that conversation.
Yes, we did. Because, so here's the thing. It's hard to separate, Jeff, the part of me that as a person who covers this felt the motivation that regardless of how I felt about it personally, I wanted to be able to cover it. And so I had plans for, looking at metrics and all this other stuff to figure out if it was something that we would keep in the long term for that. And so that does influence whether I, felt about that independently. But I'm not going to lie, FOMO is a big thing, and there are a lot of people in this sort of tech podcasty realm who I knew would be getting them and talking about them regularly. So yeah, going into it, I absolutely, and that's it too. This came to mind as well, is that, hearing about the early interactions with this device, the ones before these final reviews came out this past week and everything that was involved there, led me to believe that it was going to be even more than it was. So believe it or not, when I tried this on for the first time, I was disappointed. And I was not expecting to feel disappointed because I put it on expecting for the pass-through. What I was looking out to see was going to be like real life. And what I came to understand is that many times those early journalists who got to check it out at WWDC, they were talking about how high resolution the UI was, not the pass-through. But it gave this impression that it was going to be, you could take it off and put it on and you couldn't tell the difference. And so I was ready for that. I had been using the Quest 3 leading up to that point as kind of a reference. And when I put it on, I thought, what's going on here? This isn't what I was expecting. So I was surprised to be disappointed at the initial. As far as what would drive me to keep it, honestly, if there was some way that I don't know if I'd put a bunch of pillows and medical tape all over this so that it just somehow did not hurt my head, if I could come up with some sort of gyroscope thing that would readjust, that would need to be required. But then after that, the killer app for me actually is kind of what Paris was talking about earlier. I could have my Mac in front of me, but I've also got these other things that I'm able to do at the same time. And it's just a super cool thing to be able to do. I feel so in control of my space, and you don't get that in real life. I can't take a window and put it up on the wall and, make something come on. And then over here, I've got my music playing. And that is just, I literally can remember as a kid getting ready to go to bed. I would quite literally not dream of this, but imagine this. I would sit there in bed and I would take my fingers and I would pretend to throw these glass panes up on the walls, and suddenly my whole room took me to a safari. And that was imagination as a kid that I had. Now I'm looking at it dead in the face. And so that's why it kind of makes me sad that I am overall having this feeling about it.
Well, that's poignant.
You're young enough, and you are too, Paris. Jeff and I will never see this.
Nope.
But you two are young enough that you will probably see in your lifetime some sort of augmented reality device that is lightweight and comfortable and gives you some additional information about the world around you. I don't know if we need it, but you'll probably see it.
I think it would be really cool, if it is lightweight and easy.
It has to be like your glasses, though, right? It has to be like what you're wearing.
Yeah.
Here's what
that's also the thing is it seems like I couldn't probably wear the Vision Pro because I need glasses to see.
Well, they could put lenses in it. I wore it with contacts, and they could put lenses in it.
They have the cost.
$149. It's not a huge look. If you're paying $3,500,
you're all in.
$200 for the carrying case. $149 for the lens.
Yeah.
The carrying case doesn't come included?
No, you do get. This comes with the
the
box. This covers the front glass.
This is beautiful. This is so well made. This is the nicest.
What is that?
It's for your soap when you're buttering your soap.
Oh yeah. That's
it's for when you butter your soap.
Let's put it on in. Here, you don't wear it. This is just to protect you.
It looks like my AirPod Max.
You do need this because it's just like an AirPod Max.
It looks just like it.
I note that you still have the silly bra case that they gave it.
It's because, Leo, it serves a purpose. When you put it in the case, it turns them off.
I know.
So that they don't connect to any of your devices and that they're not consuming power.
I have one. I have a pink one with a pink bra. And
very important.
It's just like me. I fall asleep inside a bra every night as well. No, that's a terrible thing to say. Don't follow that up. Just leave them alone, Micah says.
Yep.
These are the comments.
Don't think too hard.
Don't make any sudden movements.
Micah knows me way too well. These are the comments, the reviewers' comments. The closest thing we've come to Star Trek's holodeck. The effect is mind-blowing. We found ourselves entirely absorbed. A gaming experience with a level of immersion genuinely unlike everything we've ever encountered. This is from 2012, the original Oculus Rift.
Oh, wow.
It's the same exact. And I have to say, I share that.
History
when you
repeats.
put this on, it's amazing. It's like,
is.
wow, this is the coolest thing ever. It just doesn't wear well.
Yeah,
literally
you
and
just
figuratively.
keep wearing it, and then you go, why am I wearing this anymore?
Yeah.
And then you remember, it's not like, well, see, that's the thing. You kind of forget, and so that's why you put it on again. But I don't know. I'd love to get in the heads of some folks who are super gung-ho about it.
You like Fruit Ninja.
Okay, so here's the thing. You know what? I'll launch Fruit Ninja. Let me.
Oh, we can watch you play.
Yeah.
So I think Apple made a little bit of a tactical mistake because up to now, the best use of all of these is for virtual reality gaming. Apple pushed this pass-through, but it is really a virtual reality device. The background isn't that important. It's the screen of your Mac or the app you're running. You can, in fact, be on Tatooine or Mars, and it's the same thing. You're not interacting so much with the background unless you're driving a Tesla, which shame on you if you are. So it is for now a virtual reality device. I think there will be some augmented reality applications, and the fact that you can leave windows in different physical locations is augmented reality. That's kind of interesting.
Fun.
So let's play Super Fruit Ninja.
It's got the longest load time in the history of load times.
Jeez.
So we might keep talking while it loads.
Yeah. But you see, the pass-through there is great, but not necessary.
That's pretty good.
Does it add? How about, what do you, now, Anthony?
What's the caveat there? What's the caveat? Oh, sorry.
Oh, don't walk into stuff. You're going to hit.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get up.
Don't slash Jeff.
I'm going to have to get up, I think.
Oh, do you have to walk over there?
Yeah, so Leo, you need to narrate.
I'll narrate, and you can just shout, and I'll repeat it. Anthony Nielsen on our team also, he bought his own. He spent his own money on this. Have you decided, Anthony, whether you're keeping yours or not? You still haven't. You have time.
Sigh.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to be trashing it in front of you, Anthony.
Well, but Anthony, how about the AR VR issue? Because there are some AR applications. You, if anybody, would be using it as an AR device. Do you think it's still a mostly VR device?
I mean, that's kind of frustrating because like it is essentially a VR device, but Apple's like kind of position it.
Yeah, it's not AR VR. It's spatial computing.
Like ideally, I'd like to like not have a Quest, and I was hoping like this would also like kind of in the Venn diagram of things it could do, it would also like eclipse the Quest, but like
right.
It doesn't seem like
You also have a Quest 3.
Yeah.
Anthony's our early adopter. Okay, so we're playing Fruit Ninja now, ladies and gentlemen. Fruit Ninja, if you don't know, is a game where fruit pops up and you slash it with your sword. In this case, your sword is your hand. Wait a minute, what's that little pig there, Mike?
Those fruits are getting slashed.
They're
There's
getting
an old
slashed.
man in the corner.
Is that me? Who is that? It's a guy.
It could be.
It could be, though, right?
Combo. This looks just like Fruit Ninja on the phone, but it's in 3D.
The difference
in the Twit
is
studio.
there are people behind us, right? And I'm here, but you don't interact with me. It's just a background. You could just as easily be playing this on the moon. It really wouldn't, which, by the way, they'll let you do. There's also a dial that lets you tune out the background if you don't want to see that. So let's see the pig. So this is augmented reality in some respects. The pig is on the floor.
The pig is going to fetch the stick.
He can fetch. He's playing fetch with the pig. Pig is confused about the stick.
The pig is just now showing you his rump.
The pig has decided here.
Yeah, the
feed
pig
him
is
something.
flashing you.
Okay, and we're now giving him a strawberry. The pig is very confused.
The pig is taking his sweet time.
Oh, he likes Anthony. He thinks Anthony's the stick. Oh, you pet him. See, this is kind of fun. So this is augmented reality, right? I mean, the pig
This
is
is kind of fun, Leo says, as he pets an imaginary pig.
Well,
That won't do what he wants.
oh, he's going to jump on my table. Watch. Let's see if he knows the table. Because
Let's see if he figures out the
can he
table.
see surfaces?
The pig is.
Oh, he poofed. You made
Oh,
him
the
poof.
pig has poofed onto a chair. It did not make it onto the table.
Okay. Poof.
Oh, it is now poofed onto the
Look
table.
now that's important. That is the fact that he can determine that space and stand on it is impressive. I don't know what it's impressive.
But to what end?
For, by the way, to what end? And who's this ninja guy who's just standing?
teacher.
Oh, he's your teacher?
Sensei.
Is he saying wax on, wax off?
He's scratching his head.
Yeah.
He's the teacher. He says casually as if this is all so normal.
Well, this is what happens when you get in this space. By the way, I don't know if you've
The
experienced
pig
it
is
like
laughing at him right now.
But when you spend a lot of time in this kind of odd dream space, when you take it off, you start to pinch things
Yes.
and tap things. It's hard. Your brain has a hard time. You're doing something your brain is not equipped to do, I think.
I agree. I have had a hard time. The other day, I can't remember again what it was, but I woke up and I thought that I could swipe at something with my hand, I think it was, and obviously that didn't work. And I know Anthony has had that experience where with his television, was it?
You try to pause his TV by tapping. So this gesture is very cool. So there is some good technology. There's eye tracking, so it knows what you're looking at by looking at your eyes. And the way you hit buttons is you look at the button, and then and it doesn't matter where your hand is, as long as the cameras can see it, which means it could be in your lap. You just tap, and that's a click. So you look at something and you tap. It's an interesting UI. My kind of experience with this and others is that it's a little more work than just doing exactly the same thing on your computer with a mouse and a keyboard. And it's just
Paris, do you have any idea, any desire to try it?
Not really. I mean, I have used like an Oculus before in similar capacities, and I didn't find it that compelling. I don't know. I mean, I'm open to it if there's something that comes up, an app or something that is particularly useful and lends itself to the medium. But right now, I think that it doesn't seem that useful to me. I'm not the biggest fan of VR games either.
Can you do the wide shot? It's like Micah is our idiot son who we just kind of pretending is.
Micah is our iPad baby right now. He's just table,
I am the
really
iPad
enjoying
baby.
himself. Yeah.
Remember when Leo was
I
talking
think this
about
could be huge for iPad babies.
The IKEA effect earlier? One of the kind of neat things that maybe this is what you would want, Paris, is let's show my camera if we can. So I have a standing desk assembly situation going on here. And you can almost imagine laying out the different pieces on the floor and then learning how you're supposed to put it together. So you put the support beam here.
What you need is a robot to actually do the work.
And then you could follow along with the process. And then you can also just take the different pieces and pick
That's
them
even
up.
harder than IKEA instructions.
Fair enough.
I think certainly for some people this would be very useful. I've always been very good at putting together furniture. Yeah. It's never been an issue for me.
Before the show, Paris was bragging, if I do say.
I'm very handy.
Tell them where your workshop is when you built your
when I built my dining banquette and the different benches. My workshop was on the sidewalk outside my apartment. I brought all of my saws outside and went to work.
This is really more of a statement on your generation and what we have as boomers done to you, which is you are now compelled to go onto the sidewalk to build your own furniture because
that is true.
It's kind of sad
because the current capitalist market has not produced the ability for me to easily and quickly purchase a L-shaped bench to my specifications.
Assembled furniture. You have to make your own.
Or you're meant for the suburbs, Paris. That's what it really means. But.
I hope it isn't that. I think of the first one.
You're a city.
We'll see you in Jersey,
kid.
Paris. You just mark my words.
No, gosh.
Paris,
No.
Paris, you are like, what's that great comedian who says, pretend you're in a city? I love her. She's lived in New York her whole life.
What's that great comedian?
You know who I'm talking about?
Pretend you're in a city.
Pretend you're in a city. She has by the way, if you haven't seen it, it is the funniest.
Mike is just running into stuff here.
I meant to do that.
Great, sweetie.
It is Fran Lebowitz.
Fran Lebowitz.
And it is a wonderful Martin Scorsese directed a Netflix series called Pretend It's a City, because she is a lifelong Manhattanite. And one of the things that bugs her is, and I'm sure it bugs you as well, is when she's walking around the city, tourists are walking around slowly looking at things, and she's in a hurry, and she just says, pretend it's a city, and keep walking.
That's funny.
She's very funny. I recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. But that's what, to me, you're our Fran Lebowitz, is what I'm saying.
Wow, thank you. That's high compliment.
Yeah, she's not a happy person, but she's a great writer, so.
Listen, I mean, that's what people say about me.
Just don't smoke, and you'll be all right, yeah. No, I think you are.
Micah, congratulations.
Urbanite. Oh, he took it off.
I had
Wow.
to.
And he's squinting like this.
Yeah, my hair's probably.
It looks
filthy
strange
mess.
to see your eyes now instead of just the void.
These are real.
Your forehead.
And they're actually here.
has a.
His forehead's
Yeah,
a
you
little
see the
Your face
red.
is so red.
Yeah, my nose always gets a little line on it too. You can't quite see it, but usually the nose has. Yeah, it's. I mean, why would I want to do that?
I can't wait for the. We're going to see stories soon about Vision Pro forehead.
Vision
Yes,
and
the
Vision Pro
doctors are
skincare.
concerned.
You know, TikTok's going to have. Here, you
Oh
need to
my
put
God.
a face
All of
mask
this
here.
Do you
so
think
predictable.
there's got to already, if not, there's got to be a skincare specialist or an esthetician in San Francisco that is giving Vision Pro specific facials?
Oh my God.
We call
There's
it-
gotta
uses-
be.
It's got to be VPF. Everybody, it's a problem.
Vision
but,
Pro face.
We've solved it with our special elixir. It's made out of pigs' placentas.
It really does everything for you.
It does.
Welcome
all.
back, Micah. Welcome
Oh,
back.
thank
Welcome
you
back
so
to the real
much.
world. Let me ask you a couple.
My
of things.
eyes can breathe.
One of the
You do
things
look
people
relieved.
say is amazing is watching movies, expanding the screen and watching a great movie, beginning to end, 2 hours, 3 hours if it's Napoleon. Did you try that?
I did. So when you're at home and you're not having to talk and move around a lot, that is something where there's not as much strain on your face.
Even maybe lying on your back.
Yeah,
so
if you
that-
wanted to, you could look up at
Yeah.
the ceiling and do it that way. I did watch a couple of movies. Again, I wanted to try everything as much as possible. But as I mentioned before, I think that I'm not the best audience for that because I have a huge screen already. I have a short throw projector now. And so I found myself going, why do I even need to watch it on this when I can just watch it on this short throw projector? I will say this. The resolution is absolutely incredible. It does look great, and you can kind of walk up and get close to the screen if you want to. So I guess if you really want to check out the skincare of your favorite actors, you can do that if that's your thing. I can understand why people would want to do this. You know, maybe you invest in this instead of a $3,500 TV. If you can stand
I think
it.
get the TV if you have friends.
Well,
Because that's the other thing about this, and it's one of the reasons Apple, I think, put the eyes on it. Is you're
isolated.
in some ways, I feel like this is Apple doubling down on what they did to us in 2007 with the iPhone. All you see nowadays is people walking around. See people at a restaurant.
Gramps.
I was waiting for Jeff's reaction to this.
Jeez.
But it's true. Admit it, Jeff.
Kids these days don't even talk
Yeah.
to each other. They just go out and play Fruit
You know, this
Ninja
is why-
on their
What's going to happen to that
Pros.
iPad generation of kids?
Paris, this is why I'm so impressed with you and your skeeter ball friends. And the things you do is
Skeeter ball. Yes, that's exactly what it's called.
Is that where you kill mosquitoes with a tennis ball?
With just a,
But no, you do
chuck 'em
things.
you chuck a ball at
you
birds.
do things.
Yeah.
You go to the science fiction museum. You do things, but
True.
you're not typical. Most people spend most of their time staring at their phone.
Oh,
and
enough
this
of
is
that.
just going to do more of that. It's isolative.
No, it's not. No, it's moral panic. People used to have the same complaint
There's a
about
Books.
about newspapers and books, right? And when you're on your phone,
What
you
did
are often
Gutenberg say
interacting with
about
other
this?
human beings.
No, you're not. That is a
Yeah, you are. Hey,
I
right
am.
now, we are technically
That's
on our
true. We
phones.
are on our
I am
phones.
on my computer communicating with you,
Right.
Leo.
Well, this is a much richer communication than most of the time. When you're on your phone, you're doing Insta or Twitter or something. You're not. I mean, yeah, okay, a FaceTime
True.
call or a Zoom call, that's a lot closer to real interaction. But most of the time, it's a simulation of interacting with real people. It's the same thing as this guy in Morocco doing the thing instead of jumping in the pool or walking
Don't
around
make
it.
us him.
Yeah, I'm not
You
a guy
are
in
him,
Morocco.
you son of a bitch. No, I don't know. Jeff, you're old. You probably don't stare at your phone all the time. I have to consciously, when I'm out and about with family,
I'm on it.
I actually
Get me going on
consciously
TikTok, I'm
have
on
to
it.
put it away. Yeah, actually, you're on it quite a bit. I put it away because I want to. Look, life is short. Trust me, it's short, and every moment that you waste staring at a glass screen is a moment lost forever. Pay attention.
No.
Not everyone.
I don't know.
think
What if you're
everyone
having a
does.
fun time on the glass screen? What if you're seeing a really silly tweet that brings you joy?
You're just
Right.
an addict. That's the kind of
And
thing
by the
a
way,
fentanyl
who
addict would
made
say.
that tweet? That tweet was made by a
It was
human
made by
being.
a person.
Yeah, but it's not
Probably.
interacting with them in real. Look, you can't.
Oh,
say
yeah, I go
Twitter-
back.
Okay,
and say
would you
something
say
bad.
the same thing about reading a book? Is reading a book an addict
that's
behavior?
True. No. Reading a book.
What about watching a movie?
is getting into the mind in a much deeper
What are
way of the
tweets
author.
but tiny
And,
books?
They're not. Okay, there's a big difference between a sentence and 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 words. If you're reading War and Peace, you are interacting with a guy who's long dead, but had ideas, had an imagination. You're interacting with Tolstoy. If Tolstoy did a tweet, it wouldn't be the same.
It would be great.
No,
Yeah, it
wouldn't.
would be.
You're kidding. You're lying to
I
yourself.
want Ben Franklin would be killer on Twitter.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe. Anyway, thank you, Micah, for putting up with this.
Ben Franklin would be so canceled if he had a Twitter
Hey,
account.
It would be. You don't have to decide yet. You had it until February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. The day of love. Will
day
I
of
fall in
love.
love
Fall
with the
out of
Vision
love.
Pro or
Yeah.
out of love?
You think-
Wow, this is a cute Hallmark movie setup. You've got until Valentine's Day to make your big decision.
And I'm properly diverse for it as well.
It
So.
would be a great Hallmark
Yeah.
movie.
True,
though.
yeah.
He thought he would fall in love forever, but then Valentine's Day came, and he had
No.
to make
It's
a
gotta be-
fateful decision.
It came between him and his true love.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true.
Of
Because
a
if
virgin
you're
true
in a-
love.
convinces
If you're in a
him to
relationship
give it up.
and you strap that thing on, you might as well
Sorry,
be
can you
alone.
can you clarify strap what?
The Vision Pro.
Oh, okay, got it.
Oh, okay.
If you're in a relationship and you put on the Vision Pro, you have now said, I'll see you later.
Right.
You might as well walk out the door.
But if you're in a relationship and you put on a movie that the other person is not watching as well, is it also saying see you later? Or
If
do
you
feel
read
like
a
you're
book,
If you read a book,
if you pick up a book and read it, that's what you told. I'm sorry, honey. I'm reading Tolstoy now.
Okay.
Go blow.
But
I'm sorry, you gotta have parallel play in your relationship.
Yeah,
Someone
I
can
agree.
be watching a
No, I
movie,
agree.
another person can be
Yes.
looking at tweets.
Amen.
It's fine.
I agree.
Yes.
But I have to say, and there are going to be times when you're reading a book. I understand that. And there'll be times when you're looking at your phone.
There are gonna be times where you're reading a book.
now listen here, Yuggins.
But I have to say,
There will be
Lisa
time.
and I often will listen to a book together. That's
Oh, that's nice.
That's a wonderful experience.
That's very cute.
I don't want to watch. I sometimes do watch a
Wait,
movie by
wait.
myself, and
Leo, have you considered just getting a really long Vision Pro so you
Tandem,
Lisa can just
tandem
have
Vision
it?
Pro.
A tandem Vision Pro? Your heads are together?
How cute.
That could be good.
I don't know. I had it's all in moderation, right?
Yeah.
And of course, reading is great and wonderful, and highly recommended. My kids read like crazy. I read like crazy, and you've got to read. But I also had a father who buried himself in books, and was not that present.
Oh, this
because
is
he-
what's coming out. Now we're learning the real truth here.
Well,
now we understand.
there are
you were jealous of the books.
No, well, that's true. It was isolating, right? And he didn't have an experience of me as a child, as a result. But he was a college professor. Who's probably much like you, Jeff. He was an intellectual. But I think you can. So it's about a balance, right?
Yeah. And this luckily has a built-in balance because you can't keep it on for very long or else it gets
Yeah,
stuffy.
maybe. I don't know. I don't think we need more things in the world to isolate us from the world, to insulate us from the world.
So here's the thing. On the face of what you're saying, I 100% agree, but it does discount the fact that here I can do what amounts to a safari in some. I know it's not the same thing. Absolutely, it's not the same thing as actually going on a safari. I can tightrope walk. Think about someone who has a physical disability who could never do the tightrope walking or
Yes,
go on a safari.
yes.
Or so there are some things about it that are
absolutely.
not isolating. as
Oh,
well.
absolutely. And if I took when we were in Rome, I looked like an idiot, but I had an Insta 360 camera on a stick that I was carrying around when the guide walked us around. I have those 360 videos, and
You are a dork.
But the good news
Have
is
you looked
I
at them since?
No, and I'm waiting
You're waiting for the right headset.
because you
so can
can't.
see it.
That's
Yeah.
the problem. You can't. It's not. I've looked at my pictures since.
Yeah.
They're easy. They're 2D. But a 360, you need to put on a headset. But imagine if I had you actually can't do it, unfortunately, with the Apple headset, but you can with the Meta. You put it on, and now you're back in Rome, and you can look. And you can look around. So you're hearing the guide. You're not looking at what I looked at. I can look behind me. I can look around. It's a much
That is
more
a phenomenal setup
It's
to kind of a
amazing.
murder mystery plot where suddenly you realize a crime has been committed and you have 360 video and you've got to go through the mystery.
It's actually the plot of a classic movie called Blow Up. Did you ever see? You're probably too young to remember Blow Up.
Yeah.
1966. The plot of it's an Antonioni movie. The plot of the movie is this guy's a photographer. David Hemmings is a photographer, and accidentally takes a picture of what he thinks is a murder.
Oh.
And he blows it up and blows it up and blows it up. It's a really wonderful movie. If you haven't seen Blow Up, it
Ooh,
was a
I'll
classic.
watch that.
Vanessa Redgrave, Sarah Miles, and David Hemmings. Jane
So
Birkinson.
Leo, let me say something else here. There are countless thousands of people out there right now who are listening to or watching this, who are interacting with us as human beings.
Yeah.
They're doing it because this is a human activity. Now, you're going to accuse them of looking at their phone or listening to their phone, but I think folks will agree with me that that's what the internet has enabled, is that we can be part of this.
Okay. I'm not against it.
Leo's making the grumpiest face.
It was.
It was pretty grumpy.
Only you
It was very
saw
grumpy.
it. No, I'm not against it, obviously. Look, I feel like we're having a conversation, even though you guys are back east. Micah's sitting next to me,
Right,
but it's all
right.
equal. And I think that there is
Jeff
an
is in New
audience that we
Jersey.
know about. Yeah, Jeff's in New Jersey.
yo.
For crying
Yo.
out
He's
loud.
connecting to us through the internet.
It's
From New
amazing.
Jersey.
From the
Even
suburbs.
from New
Incredible.
Jersey.
Incredible. And that we have a community and an audience who's chatting with us in our
Right.
Discord. I think that's all real and wonderful. And those are real experiences. I'm not against those.
Yeah.
Strap on the headset and it's kind of different. Maybe not.
No, I again, I agree with I understand what you are saying, and I don't disagree with the fact that yes, if you put this on, it does isolate you from the people around you, but
Which
it's not
is
a,
weird.
It's not a blanket isolation.
No. I don't know. I mean, I get angry too because I'll try to talk to Michael, our son, and he's got his ear pods in, and I'm talking. He's not hearing a thing I'm saying. And I probably did the same thing as a kid with my COS 440 Pros and,
Those
my,
you could see
the
a little
latest
bit better,
Doors
at least.
album. I don't know. I'm not against it. It's cool. It's an interesting technology. I think my only real objection is I don't want to. It's a face sucker. I don't want to put it on my face. And I think you're also experiencing that, Micah.
That's
that
what
it's
I've been
not an
experiencing.
ideal way to experience.
How
things.
long have you worn Micah's, Leo?
Oh, just briefly, but I've worn other ones for much longer. I had the Oculus Pro, $1,400 Oculus Pro, and I'm listening to Lizzo playing Beat Saber, looking like an idiot for probably an hour. I mean, it was a good workout. I worked up a sweat. The whole thing was dripping. It was disgusting, but and it was a good experience. But nobody was home. And that is, by the way, one thing in this thing's favor. You look like such a dork when you're doing it.
No
that you
one's
probably
gonna-
don't want to do it when somebody's home.
Right? Yeah. Just do go somewhere else with that.
But I'm asking Leo, how much of an advance in the technology from all the others you've owned and worn?
It's a
do you think
significant
the Pro
advance in
is?
terms of technology. So I'm not knocking Apple because they made something that wasn't good. I'm knocking the idea itself, the thing itself. I don't think people.
Is there a
want it.
business in this?
No.
No.
I think we already
Will
proven
there
that.
ever be?
I think Meta's proven
Yeah.
that. Yeah. There was a business something down the road, maybe when there's spectacles like Paris is wearing, but that's like saying,
There's a business in flying cars.
Right. Yeah, there'll be a business
Yeah,
maybe.
right.
But it ain't here right now. And I don't think I think people who are buying this for $3,500 are making a bit of a mistake. I don't know. Do you agree? Some people aren't.
Some people aren't, and some people, frankly, exist so much in a space where they're just very excited about it that
That's cool.
Like we were talking
I
about
love
earlier,
that.
they
That's
just love it
fine.
and they have fun and they
Yeah, I don't have a
enjoy it,
problem with
and that they're in
I don't want to
bubbly
rain on
unicorn
anybody's parade.
area.
Yeah, I
Right.
think that's fine.
That's the Scoble end of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, the shower people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do react negatively because Scoble is a good example of somebody who's just like going crazy over this thing, as he did with Google Glass, by the way. And I still have our Google Glass. If anybody,
So do I. So do I. With lenses.
That's a good point.
I
Anthony
actually
Nielsen.
think Google Glass, if there were enough of them, would come back for Gen Z in a big way.
it was a lot closer to spectacles, right? It's not isolating. It's just a little screen over your eyebrow that you could look at.
Oh, why was yours flashing a red light? Because you were transmitting it to the world?
Yeah, that was IR pick.
You don't see that in real life. Our cameras picked up an invisible signal. Oh. But the aliens will be here in about 3 weeks.
It was kind of cool, though, while I was wearing it over the weekend for Ask the Tech Guys, I could also see the IR blasting coming from Leo's phone. When he was doing FaceTime in the headset, it was capturing. It almost looks like heat blur is what it reminded me of. I could see those little IR dots trying to scan his face for Face ID. So I guess you could also use it if you were a CIA agent to make sure nothing around you is.
And no one will notice you.
Exactly.
No one will notice you picking that up.
Can you make them night vision goggles? Does that work?
Benito has a question.
Can you make them night vision goggles? The second you get into a too dark space, it says, there's not enough light. There's no tracking. I can't do anything. Stop it.
So it
But
needs
has
light.
IR cameras. What?
This is also, we should really also, I will acknowledge that this is a very early first iteration of something that will certainly, although it's funny because I thought I proposed it yesterday on MacBreak Weekly. Oh, well, I'm sure there'll be a less expensive version this soon and maybe iterations.
Will there be?
No. I was told with no uncertain terms by our panel, no one expects an update to this till 2026.
And the room went silent.
So this is it for a while anyway. I think Apple, I don't know. I don't know. Look, Apple's got more money than God. Well, not quite. Almost as much money as Microsoft anyway.
The devil has more money than God, which is Musk. Yes.
Yeah.
But so they can afford to put some money into something that may not fly. And they have enough money to commit to it. There's going to be I bet you, watch the Super Bowl. They're sponsoring the halftime. I bet you there'll be a 3-minute ad for this thing.
Probably.
Not that they need.
Usher will come out wearing one.
They cannot sell as many as they cannot make as many as they could sell. I'm sure they're completely sold out now, and will be sold out through the year. So it's not like. And even if I don't know. I'm guessing if they make $1,000 each, which is on a $3,500 thing, that's not a great margin, but it's better than nothing. Let's say they make $1,000 each. That's still on the 800,000 they're going to sell, only $800 million. That's not a big payday for Apple, and they've certainly put tens of billions of dollars into the R&D. So this is a money loser for years. So it could only exist because Apple thinks there's something that they want to make
happen here. I mean, and if you look back, they've been baking a lot of this technology into so many of the devices that they make regularly with the hopeful instance that this would finally happen. I can remember when at one WWDC, that's the Worldwide Developers Conference for folks who might not know. And at that event, I can remember the introduction of the anchoring of different AR experiences to specific locations in space, such that what happened with Jason Snell happened, where he left the settings in the garage. That's was really way cool. Back before Vision Pro was.
No, Microsoft
was out,
did that first. Yeah,
and so they've been building on this for forever. I remember though when we started to hear rumors about the Vision Pro, or more rumors, and the conversation surrounded how they wanted to go in one direction that was more AR focused, and they had to go this way because it was just too soon with the technology, and that's kind of fallen to the background a little bit. We're hearing more about this just in general as the stepping point, as opposed to thinking about necessarily where they wanted to go instead of this. And in that way, it reminds me of the headphones, the Brawl phones, the
AirPods
Pro,
Max.
AirPod Max, yeah. In that sense that we had heard that they had this whole plan of how this was going to be, and they kind of had to settle a little bit.
They've done nothing.
Yeah,
literally not updated.
And now they're just what they are.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
I got to admit, I'm nervous. I saw you put it on the floor. I'm afraid you're going to get up and step on it. You can't return it.
I've got a nice little table underneath the desk. Movie magic.
I got to say who this has been very profitable for is YouTubers.
It's been insane.
It's Marquez Brownlee had hundreds. I mean, I don't know how many millions of views in the first few minutes. Jerry Riggs Everything has already scored it with his famous knife test, which is stupid and pointless. But YouTubers are, whether they love it or hate it, and by the way, you can make money doing either.
Yeah.
Are absolutely making hay with this thing.
I would say, though, another category, I know you're going to go to an ad break, but another category that has benefited from this are early developers, because just the other day, Christian Seelig, the maker of the Reddit Apollo client, he posted that the app that he made, which is a YouTube frame, essentially, it's the ability to kind of watch YouTube videos from an app. It's called Juno. Within, a couple of days of launch, had already more than made back the cost that he spent on the Apple Vision Pro that he purchased, and so that was quickly climbing. So early developers who hopped on
$5, so that's a lot of them. Here is I just searched for Vision Pro on YouTube. Here are a couple of shorts: Apple Vision Pro in the pool, Tesla Cybertruck, trying Vision Pro for the first time. Tim Cook is not happy. The Vision Pro is terrifying. You have to buy the Vision Pro. Vision Pro insane. Those are just the shorts. I worked 8 hours in the
Swisher's
Vision Pro.
new sunglasses.
Yeah, wouldn't that be funny? The reason to care about the Vision Pro, the thing no one will say about Apple Vision Pro. This was Casey Neistat who said it's the single best technology mankind has ever invented. There we are. I left my settings app in the garage. The Apple Vision Pro's 2 big problems everybody needs to know, and on and on and on and on and on and on. Here's a guy in a shower.
Okay, so wait. I look up Scoble Vision Pro. Yep, he's got it.
Of course he's got it. You'd be foolish if you were one of these influencers not to buy one immediately and do a bunch of videos, either pro or con or, whatever. Anyway, that's enough. I wanted Micah, since we spent $3,500.
I'm really grateful. No, thank you, Micah.
I wanted Micah to come in and give us the demo. We're going to take a break, come back. There's lots of stuff, lots of Google stuff and other stuff to talk about on This Week in Google with Paris Martineau, Jeff Jarvis, Micah Sargent. You're going to host for me when I'm on vacation.
That is true, yeah.
I should warn you, fellas.
Yeah. Get ready.
So am I.
Paris is going to host.
I'm delighted.
On March 13th, Paris will be hosting the show. It's your big shot. Don't blow it.
Listen, I'm preparing now.
Kid, you're going to, what is the line from A Star Is Born? Kid, you're a nothing today, but you're going to go out there and you're going to come back a star.
That's what they're telling me.
Huh? You got moxie, kid. I hate moxie. I think it's
You're
spunk.
not going on a cruise again, are you, Leo?
No. Micah Sargent will be hosting on the 20th. We're just going to go to Mexico and visit Ted Cruz. It's just going to be a little quick.
Just a little how you doing?
How you doing, Ted?
Howdy.
How's it going in Mexico? I decided Lisa deserved some time on the beach. She's been working really hard trying to keep us afloat, so to speak.
Now she's got to stay afloat, but in a lounger.
You
near
can't
the pool.
actually. It turns out we're going to Cabo, and it turns out that you can't actually go in the water. It's too dangerous because of the rip tides.
No way.
So we're just going to look at the beach.
Oh man.
And,
great.
I should have looked. I should have done some research, perhaps. On we go with the show. Your phone is not listening to you. So just some good news.
At last.
Yeah, this is a Gizmodo article. Maxwell Zeff. He actually talks about, which is great, the origins of the myth that your phone is listening to you. And, of course, the Cox Media Group pitch that we know what your audience is listening to. He traces it back, which is interesting, to a TV news segment, Tampa Bay, May 23rd, 2016.
It's always TV news
freaked
that
out
does
about
this to us.
this item from Facebook where they can listen in on your conversations, basically looking for buzzwords and things that you're saying.
Oh, I hate
People
TV
wanna know
news.
how
God,
to
I hate it.
disable the
no.
microphone.
So she's not going to in any way question it. She's just going to show you how you could turn off the microphone so Facebook can't listen in. But the article has been since removed from the website of the station. Very important. There it was. Somebody looked into this. Northeastern University a few years ago tested Facebook, Instagram, a bunch of other things to see if any of these can listen to you. And it is not. This is Ellen Pang, Jingjing Ren, Martina Lindorfer, Christo Wilson, and David Schaffness ran an experiment. 17,000 of the most popular apps. They did it on Android, which is probably smart, assuming that maybe the iPhone would even be more locked down. 8,000 apps that send information to Facebook. Facebook itself, they found no evidence of an app unexpectedly activating the microphone or sending audio out when not prompted to do so.
I wish, Leo, that mattered more. That there was a study done, that they took a year doing it, that they looked at so many different apps. But you know that there are still so many people that you could tell them quite literally that, and it doesn't matter. They don't believe that.
No.
There's more. Is it? I don't know. I don't think it's fun to believe in conspiracy. Well, maybe for some people it's fun. Why are we? Or
it's because it's a shortcut I feel concerned about targeted advertising, or it's
even
strange
big tech,
to me that I'm
Paris?
getting targeted ads.
I
think
not just
that
ads, but
most
big
of
tech.
but the original anxiety around my phone is listening to me comes from, I was talking about some obscure medical procedure or thinking about buying this pair of shoes with someone, and then the next day I got a targeted Instagram ad for it. That's the kind of case that people are often bringing up when they're saying, I'm concerned my phone is listening to me. And the real honest truth, which isn't as fun or sexy, is that you're not that unique. It's pretty easy for your phone and for companies to figure out what sort of products you're interested in based on a whole host of signals and your cohorts.
Well, in fact, that was Maxwell Zeff's last paragraph, which he's absolutely right. He says, the more concerning thing is advertisers don't need to record you at all, because they already know everything about you. You've been telling them for years on Facebook and Instagram. This is not. They know it. They don't need to listen.
You know the two words I'm going to use. It's moral panic. Yeah. It's part of that. There must be something. Good timing. Good. You've been hanging on that button. Where you want to believe there's something bad on earth happening to you. You want to believe that you're a victim of something, and it doesn't matter what it is.
Is it conspiracy theory, sort of? I think there is.
I don't think it's that conspiratorial. I don't think that the people who are saying, oh, my phone is listening to me, have thought about the behind the scenes that much. I think it's just the easiest logical leap.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the easiest
I was talking
explanation.
about something yesterday and now I have an Instagram ad for it, or a banner ad has appeared. It must be listening to me.
My problem is, though, when I have attempted to help someone who's feeling that way and believing that way, explain it, it doesn't matter. It's like, ultimately it's not my, job to, it kind of is, to try at least to convince someone that, this is how it's to explain how it's actually working. But there's almost a draw to the scarier of the two things where, it's not a bunch of technology. Because this is the thing, us and the techie people, whenever we're talking about this, the thing that I always hear is, but isn't it so much scarier that they're able to do this without listening to you? The average person is not thinking that it's scarier that they're able to do that without. No, the scarier thing for them is a microphone listening to you. And it doesn't matter if you say, these are the 15 different ways. I've had this experience anecdotally and also, I guess, secondhand.
Oh, yeah, I've
anecdotally.
had the same thing. People don't believe you.
Yeah, they just, and it's like,
no, not at all.
What do you do?
There's an academic, or was an academic at University of California, Berkeley, Alan Dundas, who wrote a book about dark jokes and the dark joke cycles, and the elephant in the refrigerator, the elephant jokes, or the dead baby jokes. And I interviewed him many years ago. He said, and I think he's absolutely right, that what they really do is they reflect a deep psychic fear that we can't express outwardly because it's too scary, but it's in there, and so we make these jokes about it. And I think that this is kind of. If he were still here, I wish he hadn't passed a couple of years ago, but if he were still here, I think he would say the same thing about these kind of conspiracy theories, that they reflect, I think, a deep fear. And in this case, I don't think it's just advertising. I think it's a deep fear of big tech and the outsized importance that companies like Google and Facebook and Apple and Microsoft have in our lives. And there's this just kind of discomfort that comes out in this conspiracy theory. That's just my thinking on it. But
I mean, my general thought, if we're looking at broader online conspiracy theories like QAnon and whatnot,
same thing, yeah.
They all kind of go back to
or dark government
control,
right?
The fear of the absence of control and creating a narrative that gives you a sense of control.
Yes, that's why they do it
through knowledge.
But I'm saying the subject matter is informative about the thing that you feel out of control with, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's also, I mean, when you QAnon is not. When we have opinion polls that say, "Oh my God, look at the dumb stuff people believe," they're not believing it. They're signaling a belonging to something.
Right.
They're saying, "I'm part of this, not that." There were some academics I quote in the next book say that voting, even there's research that now says that that's not a purposeful event in itself.
No,
you're
it's
not
a tribal
voting for something.
Signal.
Yes, you're signaling a belonging to something.
Yeah.
And so I'm signaling that I belong to those who are skeptical about all this or that hate big whatevers.
That's why people vote the Democratic line, the Democratic ticket. That's why there are tickets. You're in the tribe. You vote for your tribe, That's why Tammany Hall existed, right? You vote for your tribe. You support your tribe.
I'm listening to an amazing book now, Holocaust. I listen to lots of, strange things to spend my time doing. It's a really, really good book.
It's just because you don't want to be with your family. I know.
I know, it's isolated. Yeah, I'd rather be have a huge piece of plastic on my face. And there's this line I've got to go. I'm listening to it. I can't underline it, which frustrates me. But I want to go back. That says that sometimes authoritarians, they're replacing religion. They're replacing one belief with another, one God with another, or one devil with another. And a lot of this is around that. David Weinberger, in his book about AI, talks about how we think things are accidents that aren't accidents. They're only accidents because we can't explain them.
This is everyday chaos.
Yes, everyday chaos. David's just brilliant. And that's that we class it as an accident because we couldn't come up with something. But in fact, of course, there's a clear cause and effect going on in some way or another. It's not an accident, but we don't know. Same thing with AI now. We can't explain things with AI. This is going to freak people out more and more and more. There's no going in to say, why did it do that? How did it do that? How did it know? It's just a very complex calculation.
Well, to go full circle, and it was you who told me this, Hannah Arendt, in her classic work on, The
Origins of Totalitarianism.
Totalitarianism, says the roots of it are isolation.
Yes.
And loneliness.
Yes.
You want to belong.
And what the authoritarians do. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just sort of jumping on that. Yeah, that you were drawn to being with that person. You interviewed. No, I did. I thought I remembered that book and David Weinberger. I interviewed him on Triangulation.
On the book. Yeah,
on that book.
Oh yeah.
He's great. I like it. In fact, we should get him on this show, actually.
It was wonderful.
He and Doc Searles wrote the Clue Train Manifesto back in the day, in the latter part of the last century. And he's a great thinker. Next story, Blue Sky.
I've got blue sky.
It's opening up. I have 6 invites I can throw to the wind. It is finally open to the public.
Invites.
Now, what do we think of Blue Sky? I mean, it's come down to, there were a lot of Twitter rivals. Blue Sky was the open Twitter rival funded by Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, to provide, in fact, they came up with a protocol, the AT Proto, to provide kind of a federated equivalent to Twitter. Of course, there is already ActivityPub, which does that. The so-called Fediverse, Mastodon is one instance of that. And there's Threads. I think that's it now, right? I mean, there are others, but most of them are kind of dwindling. So now we have Threads, Blue Sky.
Post.news isn't anything anymore.
They're gone.
Right.
So is it really Mastodon / Fediverse, X, Threads, and Blue Sky? Is that the 4?
I think so. I mean, I don't
right.
think there's anything else even in the running.
So which do we like? As soon as Blue Sky went open again, I went back and said, oh, I remember this. This was fun.
None of the above is what I like.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't used Blue Sky that much in the past month, but I've started posting again because people are on.
It's a lot like Twitter, right? I mean,
Yeah, basically, it's Twitter.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the UI of Blue Sky immensely. Threads UI drives me pretty crazy in a lot of ways.
Agreed.
However, there are a lot of smart people on Threads, and there are conversations that I want to see. Mastodon, is just a whole different kind of conversation.
I noticed, Jeff, you post pretty much the same thing on all of them.
Yes, I do.
You do that by hand.
I do Twitter first. So I'm reading the New York Times. I hit their Twitter button. There it is. I copy that and put it over. What I forget to do sometimes is change the @,
right?
Change the handles. But it's interesting to me. It's almost experimental to me because I see how different things react on different platforms, and there's no pattern to it. Something that I think is going to take off on Blue Sky, nobody reacts to, but Mastodon reacts to.
I left it on my desk.
Interesting.
I have to admit a soft spot for Mastodon, but we run our own Mastodon instance at twit.social.
I'm always going to love Mastodon.
I love it, though. I think the conversations... So the most important thing to understand is that even if you're on twit.social, that doesn't limit you to twit.social. There are many... You don't have to go to mastodon.social either. There are many different Mastodon instances of different stripes and flavors, but you can follow anybody on any of them. In fact, on any ActivityPub site. The thing about Mastodon
is that because there's no algorithm and because there's no retweets, basically it's present tense. I find that if you get into a conversation on Mastodon, it happens in a short period and then it's forgotten because there's no way to recycle it.
So you don't get trends so much on Mastodon, is what you're saying?
No, or a conversation that can last over a couple of days.
Yeah, that's kind of too bad. That's a loss. I agree. That's a loss.
I think it is.
I think it's also it's very geeky because it's a little harder, right? So you're getting the more geeky people. It's also much more
and there's more
international.
rules.
Yeah, there are more rules. And
unwritten rules.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say it's not necessarily clear what the rules are, but if you know, kind of a situation.
Well, and I moderate with a light hand, but I moderate ours, and I could do it by myself. I'm the only one doing it. It's not so hard. There's only a few thousand people on it, but I think I really like Mastodon. I feel like this is. So I went to Blue Sky. Here's Blue Sky, and it's very Twitter-like. In fact, there are other UIs to it, but this is the main UI. And the content's very Twitter-like. It would scratch.
This literally looks like Twitter.
Yeah. If you were looking for Twitter, it would kind of scratch your itch without all the Nazis. Now, it'll be interesting to see now that it's open to the public how this changes. So far, I don't notice a big change. It did go down overnight because of the influx of...
I was about to say, I think they got like 1 million users signing up in the first...
Which is great.
24 hours.
I'm glad for them. Yeah. One of the things about Blue Sky, it's got lists, which is great. So you can,
It's not just lists, too. It's the preview of what it's like to be able to use different algorithms.
Right.
And
you can customize your algorithm. I love deck.blue, which is, I believe, some Blue Sky user made it, but it's kind of, it's basically TweetDeck, but for Blue Sky.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
I like it too,
Twitter.
And I was using that actually. It's very cool. Blue Sky has an open protocol, AT-Proto, which they now say we're going to start letting people attach to our API and create their own federating instances of Blue Sky. So this will be very interesting to see. That all exists with Mastodon.
There was a conference discussion with Mike Masnick and Jay Graber, who's in charge of Blue Sky, and Yoel Roth. And it was a really good conversation that I watched. And Jay makes clear that they're going to do what they say they're going to do, but they're just doing it in a sensible path. And they admit they make mistakes and they learn from them. And I trust her. I think that they're doing a good job.
Good.
People dismiss it, well, because Jack paid for it. Well, Jack's kind of gone from it now entirely.
Is he not on the board still?
Yeah, but I think it's minor.
But Jack is checked out of almost, it seems like every part of public tech life.
Yeah.
He's enjoying
and
his
honestly,
money.
Good for him. If I was rich, you'd never hear from me.
No,
They need to all do that.
Yes.
You're saying the only reason you're here is not because you love being with us. It's just because you're poor. Is that it?
It's because I love
Paris?
being with you guys and I'm poor. I contain multitudes.
Yeah, remember, we can do both. We can do both.
We can do both.
So we can assemble our furniture on the sidewalk and be here.
And do it virtually.
Yes.
Paris is where you actually end up with furniture. Let's just say that's
Yeah, it's not just
That's
a
true.
virtual space. It's odd. Every time I try to set my cup on that table, and it just hits the ground.
Surprisingly, it's not there. You know,
You just have to believe enough.
Apple's gotta
A
figure that
mustard
out.
seed of faith. That's all you need.
You know who's on all of the
If you
platforms?
say Steve Jobs' name 5 times, the table will appear.
Please don't. It's scary. You know who is on all of these is a young college student who, what's his name? Jack Sweeney, who...
the
infamous
plane tracker guy.
Yes, the plane tracker guy.
Well, he's not tracking the planes. He's using data from, I believe it's ABS,
Right.
kind of the
Right.
secondary plane tracking network.
He's a publisher of the plane tracking.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's not happy. She is now trying to silence him, a cease and desist letter. She may even sue. She's threatening a lawsuit because he's tracking her.
So what do we think?
jet.
I made fun of Elon Musk for getting mad at him, so I guess I can't.
I feel
I totally agree. I think that it's BS. This data is publicly available.
Yep.
It exists on the ABS website. People could look it up. Just because someone is tweeting it, I don't think they should be prosecuted for that.
It's a tail number. And
Your tail number, it's...
Now-
if someone was standing outside, they could see it.
what Sweeney did for Elon is agree to delay it 24 hours. Elon called it assassination coordinates. He was worried that people would say, I know where Elon is, and go harass his children or whatever. Presumably,
Well, if someone
Taylor's
wanted
worried
to
about
do
the
that,
same
they
thing.
could do it now with
Right.
that same exact
they could
info.
go to that website and do it themselves, or that service and do
Yeah.
it themselves.
It's interesting because ADSB is actually created by enthusiasts who are watching, in effect, the tail numbers transponders and then contributing it back to the database.
Really?
Yeah, it's not an FAA database.
No, it's kind of like a guerrilla network,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people who, I believe, pay to have their information obscured from public channels, public federal channels, as far as flight tracking
I
goes.
think you could. So
and this is,
couldn't Taylor Swift do that? Is hide her tail
I mean,
number?
no, I'm certain that she is. I don't even know if it's paid. I think you can just say, I don't want to be.
Please don't include me.
Yeah, please don't
Yeah.
include my information. But that only works for, I think the Federal Registry.
Oh.
Or whatever it's called.
Okay.
This is a second network that I believe operates as just a bunch of different nodes. Like, if Taylor Swift flies to Miami, her tail number is caught by whatever little satellite readers, or I don't know what the technology is, but essentially it's caught by a bunch of things put up by geeks who've just decided to put these things up in their backyard or various places. So there's no way to take it down.
Interesting. Anyway, she hasn't sued yet, and we should probably say Taylor may not know anything about it. It's her attorneys, and they've sent a cease and desist letter to Sweeney, which he shared with the Washington Post, that says your social media accounts cause direct and irreparable harm as well as emotional and physical distress, that unless you stop the, quote, stalking and harassing behavior, we will have no choice but to pursue any and all legal remedies.
I don't ever want to get Paris mad, though. I don't want to do that.
Paris or Taylor?
I'm a Swiftie. I mean, either.
Either.
That's true.
I confuse them too. I don't.
Paris is my Taylor.
Yes.
You see.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah. Did you all watch the Grammys?
I did not.
I did.
I surprised myself into watching, and Paris. I said it again. Sorry.
Listen, I'm just an illustrious star who can.
You are.
say.
Taylor is the greatest fan. She was singing,
She was dancing
along
and singing.
every song, dancing, amazing to watch.
Call me cynical, but I also was aware that she knew very well there were cameras on her
Of course, they're
And
her
that was
whole
a
life.
Of
performance.
course,
That was a
she's
performance.
performing.
She does it.
Leo,
You say
I
Bears
bet
has
that-
it on her hand.
She
She's
also
written
does it
the
in
lyrics.
when she's watching Travis Kelce, her boyfriend, on the field. She's very much into the game in the booth, and everybody's taking
Leo, there's a
pictures.
camera on
You know,
right now.
to bring it all together, I bet part of the reason why
Wait a minute,
her
what?
legal team reached out to Jack Sweeney. Sorry, what?
Nah, never mind. Is because
I bet part of the reason why she reached out to Jack Sweeney is because there was a lot of news coverage over the fact that she was playing in Japan
Tokyo,
and was going to have to take a
Fly back.
really quick flight back in order to get there for whatever, There's been like a lot of coverage over her flight patterns lately.
Well, and right now, isn't she kind of the enemy of a certain group of
I don't think
male?
it's that. I think though what Jack Sweeney says is
I think she's getting a lot of attention from the right
yeah,
now.
that's what that's.
yeah,
that was the
but
point.
they don't care about her use of fossil
No,
fuels.
but they might care about. Maybe she thinks they care about where she is, and so her concern is
Yeah.
a bunch of protests and
Oh,
violent
maybe that's
situations.
what's prompting it.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's-
Yeah.
Come on. It's a great news story, but is it five guys who say, "Oh, Taylor Swift, she's definitely a psyops"?
Right.
I mean, how many people really think that?
But these guys can be
It gets
really threatening.
well, they're
really
scary,
bad.
but it gets blown up in the media like thousands of right wingers are after Taylor Swift as a psyop for the Democratic Party. I'm not sure I buy that. I don't know.
Once again, it's signaling.
Yeah.
What can we
Yeah,
say
I
that's
do
so
think it is
outrageous?
signaling. Yeah.
And it's good for clicks and views.
Yep.
And I'll be watching the Super Bowl looking for Taylor Swift. I did watch the Grammy Awards. I thought you were going to go where all the other boomers went, which is, I don't know who.
Joni.
Yeah, Joni. There was a New Yorker cartoon with two old folks like you and me watching go, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I don't know. Joni! I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
Joni signals them all the way,
Brandy
though.
Carlisle, once again. bringing Joni.
Tracy Chapman was amazing. My wife and I have argued about this. I thought Joni was wonderful. My wife thinks it's elder abuse.
Oh,
I think she's wrong.
No, Joni's enjoying it. If Joni,
I think so, too.
If Joni were being
I think so.
dragged along by the hair, maybe, but she's enjoying it.
Joni doesn't do
She's
stuff she
enjoying
don't
it
want to do.
immensely.
I have a feeling
No.
Joni Mitchell does not
Yeah.
do stuff she doesn't want to. Now, let me ask you, Micah, as a representative of black people.
that's what I always am.
But
with the pink
The
forehead.
classic segue there.
Jay-Z said something I thought was really provocative. Did you see it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I know what you're talking about.
Jay-Z got the doctor. Well, okay, look. I'm just
I know,
saying
I know.
out loud the thing that is in fact the case, which is I'm asking Micah. I'm not asking you, Paris, what you think about Jay-Z's position. But Jay-Z
Listen,
said,
I know.
you understand. I'm just saying out loud so that I'm being
We should just
totally
fast forward through
transparent.
all of this. What is this?
Jay-Z got the Dr. Dre award or whatever.
Yeah.
And he talked about when he, the first rap artists to get a Grammy award boycotted the Grammys because the award was off camera. It was one of those awards they gave before the show. That was the Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff. He mentioned that when he was nominated, did the same thing. Here he is getting the Dr. Dre award, and that's on camera. But he says, I look at Taylor Swift winning 4 Album of the Year awards. She's a nice white girl. Beyonce, who has won more Grammys than almost anybody, has never won the Album of the Year award. He basically indicted the Grammys for being racist.
See, and so there, it's complex.
By the way, I'm only asking you because you're a Beyonce fan.
Right. Yes. People
let's
don't have
make
that context.
clear.
Yeah. I
Yes.
am a big Beyonce fan, and so that plays into this. So again, we contain multitudes.
It's the same thing Kanye did to poor Taylor.
Yeah, except he did
At
it
the
I
MTV
think even
Awards.
with less
He said, I'm going to let
class.
you finish, but your video sucked. Beyonce's was so good.
Right. And I think
terrible.
Beyonce probably didn't like that as much. So again, we contain multitudes, and I think there are multiple things going on here. I think first and foremost, it is something that it stinks that it has to involve a person who is completely,
Taylor didn't
it's not
do it.
Taylor's fault.
Right.
And I can understand the complaints that it sort of dulls the win for Taylor amongst a certain crowd, but her best fans and most of her fans aren't going to care what somebody else says other than to signal their tribal nature by getting upset about it. It is also another sort of public example, I think in a good way, of a person standing up for another person that they very much care about, you know, to take that, and to take that opportunity to say,
and their daughter was on stage with him.
Yeah, I respect this person, and I've seen how hard she's tried over the years to do this. I think that was, you know, a part of that. And then I think that it is also important that we do draw our eye to look at what could possibly be seen as a snub, especially with Lemonade that year. Adele took the time to say, I really thought you should have had that, Beyonce.
So this has actually stimulated a thinking in my mind that I think is important. And I don't know how we got on this because it really isn't our charter. Oh, it's your fault, Jeff. You brought up the Grammys. But I think we might as well say it since we're talking about it. The Grammys represents a part of the recording industry that is the establishment. It is not the recording industry. And we often think of the Grammys as representing music. They don't represent music. They represent the establishment, the recording establishment, which often is antithetical to music and to artists, is often the enemy of artists. We saw it with the Napster prosecutions. We've seen it again and again. We've seen it with them copy protecting songs and then going after people who love music. I'll get it back to technology by saying that. I don't think the Grammys reflect the music industry or music as a whole. They reflect a small group of white,
especially in the post-mass world,
who for years have profited off of the cultural.
That's right. Cultural appropriation. Exactly. I agree. Yes.
And now take that and extend it to the Oscars, to the Golden Globes.
Yes, true of all of it. And they all have been accused of this kind of racism. And well, the Golden Globes is a different story. That's just a joke.
Yeah,
but I'll agree with the Academy Awards and all that. And it really does so I think it's worth saying only because if you're a music fan, and I often make this mistake. I watch the Grammys because I'm a music fan, but that's not music.
Yeah. And he took the time to say it during the Dr. Dre Award, did he not? It was specifically in this, again, he starts out by talking about how it used to not even appear on camera.
Right.
It was, I think, it was the perfect time, if there was any time, to talk about it, because this was already something that existed outside of the establishment. It was off camera before, and you're taking the opportunity to talk about representation. There's a theory that, in part, Lemonade was a test to see just how racist the Grammys truly were, because if you listen to Lemonade, there is almost every genre of song in Lemonade. You know, the song Daddy Lessons is a country song.
Yeah.
And you get the full
she intentionally
gamut.
did every genre.
Every kind of genre to try and see, look, I'm doing this and we're doing it to the best of our ability. And you heard the praise for Lemonade, and she still didn't get Album of the Year after that.
Yeah.
I think that there's something to be said about it.
And I think there's a justified anger.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important to understand this is the establishment, and music is, in fact, kind of anti-establishment.
Right.
Really good music is anti-establishment.
Yeah. I
always love going down in the subway and hearing these amazing musicians or street buskers and thinking, there are so many great musicians who never got a recording contract, who never got the attention that they deserved. Music goes way beyond the Grammy Awards. So I that's why I bring that up. I just think
and music now supports, I forget the Will, what's his name? The former chief economist of Spotify, Will Page, I think his name is, has written about this often. Now music as a whole supports so many more artists, not support in the sense that it allows them to be heard, so many more genres, thousands of genres.
But look what
more people can create.
Look what UMG, Universal Music, is doing to TikTok. And this is a really interesting story. So last week, we didn't report on it. I meant to, but we didn't get around to it. Universal Music pulled their music from TikTok. I thought it was a negotiation, but it wasn't. It's still not on TikTok. So that means all the artists on that label can no longer be used on TikTok, which is probably right now the #1 promotional vehicle for musicians.
Absolutely.
Especially for up-and-coming musicians.
What a shocking thing for UMG to do. And it just shows you how little respect they have for the artists.
Yes.
They get
and
to
the fans.
Yeah.
And the fans.
And the fans. That's a good point. And the fans.
It's this idea. I mean, I guess I should full disclose this. I got commissioned by the California Chamber to write a piece about the CJPA, so I'm deep back into copyright research right now. And every time I dig into it, it was never done for the creator. It was always done for the industry. It was from the very first, from the Statute of Anne, it was the booksellers and the publishers who wanted it. And ever since then, copyright has not been done. It's so that the creator can alienate themselves from their creation and sell it, but it's the people they sell it to who want to keep it.
It's so great that you say that, because I've asked Cory Doctorow, who is a prolific author, gives away everything. You know, he tries to sell it, but he also gives it away, and has had feuds with Audible over DRM and so forth. And I said, well, when authors like Ursula K. Le Guin and others, get angry at Google and others about copyrights, aren't you an author? Don't you support them? He said, no, you don't understand. Just as you said, Jeff, copyright doesn't protect artists, doesn't protect creators. It's about the companies that own the copyrights and making more money. He's very much anti copyright for that reason. Which is a really interesting position. He's gotten in
the other thing that's interesting about it
are writers over that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It does. Though his publisher supports him in this. Tor does.
Yeah.
The other thing about copyright that fascinates me is that news was not included until way later. It was not included until almost the 1900s in the U.S. And in fact, at the Berne Convention, they thought about excluding news because they wanted a national network of news to be created. And copyright in the U.S. included only books, maps, and charts at the beginning, not magazines, not newspapers. And this idea, and then when it did finally get included, the idea was, well, maybe it's only kind of authored creative work, because news is a corporate product. It's not a creative work and shouldn't be included in copyright. And now we have publishers going out there, this is what I testified before the Senate, trying to shut down every use of content and make it that you can't learn from it, you can't do anything else with it, and it does hurt creativity.
I do love it. Santa Barbarian in our Discord is reminding me that Taylor Swift in the process of re-recording all her albums, so that the labels that own the copyright lose the copyright, and any true Taylor fan buys Taylor's version.
That's more about her manager, but yeah.
Yeah, her manager stole from her. But ultimately, it comes down to the same thing, right? It's the industry. And by the way, I think part of the reason UMG is going after TikTok is as a way of saying to both TikTok and Spotify, don't forget who is in charge here. Who owns
who's
this?
Paying your bills.
Yeah, it would be a shame if something would happen to your tiny little app. And these guys are awful. This is terrible.
Yeah, all you got to do is look up the Universal Music Fire, and
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a sad story. We've talked about that before. The original masters of so much great music stored by Universal in a warehouse in Hollywood, big complex.
Yeah, the equivalent of burning down the Louvre.
Yeah, they didn't protect it. They said, "Well, we got digital copies. Who cares? It's all gone." Very sad. When was that fire, Benito?
I'm not exactly sure.
We talked 2008. Yeah, we talked about it when it happened. It's the backlog of Universal Studios.
There's a great scene. I'm sorry, I'm going to not the Louvre. I'm going to the Notre Dame fire, and the great scene in Victor Hugo's Notre Dame, where the abbey points at the book and says, "This will destroy that."
Yeah,
that was the cathedral, and the cathedral was the way that we remembered ourselves, and the book would destroy that.
Yeah,
and now we're fighting it again.
Yeah, this we talked about it 5 years ago in 2019 when the New York Times Magazine published this article revealing what we'd lost 10 years earlier. The day the music burned, it was the biggest disaster in the history of the music business, and almost nobody knew. Chess records, all the masters gone.
Wow.
I mean, just a horrific loss, and Universal basically covered it up. They didn't.
How much was digitized at that point?
I think a lot of it wasn't, because a lot of it was older stuff.
Wow.
That's so strange.
And this has always been the music industry's point of view about digitizing is, well, we're going to do the stuff that sells. We're not going to. So they don't care about history. It is meaningless to them.
Right.
You know. According to Wikipedia, the catalogs of Chess, Decca, which was a great jazz label, MCA, Geffen, Interscope, A&M, by the way, Joni Mitchell, Impulse, and all their subsidiary labels, 118,000 to 175,000 album and 45 RPM single master tapes, phonograph master discs, lacquers, which are the first impression, as well as all documentation contained in the tape boxes. Unreleased recordings,
let me say
outtakes, gone.
Let me say something provocative here. That this idea that we could record and keep music is so recent in our history.
Oh, that's true. We've lost a lot more music, haven't we?
That's a good point.
Everything before that was lost.
Yeah.
Never captured, never gained.
But we have the means to do it now.
Yes, I agree.
And that's why Bruce O'Kale and the Internet Archive is so damn important, because they're preserving this stuff that nobody, Nintendo doesn't care about old games. They're preserving this stuff nobody cares about. Even in the face, by the way, we should point out, of copyright lawsuits like crazy.
The Common Crawl, which I'm working with.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of April, where the New York Times has demanded that all of their stuff, which was on there for years, which was freely available on the web, they're demanding that be taken down, which affects our picture of the web. There.
I want to tell you, don't worry about your electric toothbrush.
In case you were worried.
In case you were worried, I fell for this.
Wait. Oh, so did
you
I.
falling for something?
I fell for this yesterday on Security Now. I said, Steve, this just in, hot breaking news, 3 million electric toothbrushes co-opted by bad guys and used in a DDoS attack against a Swiss company. No,
Leo.
It didn't happen.
Dang it, but I threw away all those toothbrushes after I stomped on them and put them in the microwave.
It started.
The toothbrush was listening to you,
the
and it was
whole
talking
time.
to Facebook. Yeah.
It started when a Swiss news organization, you're going to have to help me with the pronunciation here, the Aargauer Zeitung, published an article featuring a tweet from a security researcher at Fortinet, which implied that it could happen.
Oh, come on, people.
Oh, come on.
But it didn't happen. And, of course, the Swiss Truthbrush. That's the name of the show right now, Truthbrush. The truth comes out. The article made huge leaps from the very short tweet from Fortinet. The electric toothbrush is programmed with Java, and criminals have unnoticed installed malware on it, like 3 million other toothbrushes. One command is enough, and the remote-controlled toothbrushes simultaneously access the website of a Swiss company. The site collapses and is paralyzed for 4 hours. Now, no one can find the company. This never happened. And thanks to Bleeping Computer, who did the legwork on this, the journalism, they can't find any example of this, nor, frankly, are these toothbrushes hackable, since the way they work, and I have one of them.
Bluetooth, yeah.
They Bluetooth to your phone. They're not on the
internet.
internet.
And they barely Bluetooth to your phone.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's disconnected.
Yeah.
Well,
why do you need your toothbrush to
I
connect
never
to your
use
phone?
the feature, I'll say that, but it does have that feature. It's essentially...
Why did you buy this toothbrush?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, listen, that's too many questions. Now we've reached the cap on the questions you'll be asking me. Thank you. Good night. No.
Bye.
I wish I'd thought of that. That's good.
I was about to say, this is every week on the show. We just interrogate Leo on what products he's bought.
Why did you
so
do
you're
that?
also in the chair.
It's because
Why did you
so I
think that?
needed a new
But I'm
toothbrush.
with you. We both bought this stupid toothbrush.
I needed a new toothbrush. I like Oral-B. It's one of the best rated toothbrushes, and there was a sale on Black Friday from Amazon. It happened to have
Did you
Bluetooth.
get the black one?
Yeah, I got the black one.
Yeah.
And so because there was a sale
that's
and I
called
needed a new toothbrush.
Diamond Clean.
Ah, yes.
By the way.
And I do
Doesn't
like
it get kind of white
with
gunky with toothpaste?
IOSense TM.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's supposed to be able to tell you, it kind of has a gyroscope inside and is supposed to be able to tell you when you're not brushing properly. But I don't ever use those features.
You pair it to your phone. I used it the first 2 days.
Right, you do.
pair it to your phone, and it tells you how hard you're pushing and what quadrant of your mouth.
It's the Vision Pro of toothbrushes. I will say I still use the sensor for how hard you're pressing.
$400?
Yes.
That's not how much I paid for mine. I will tell you that.
So, mine broke eventually. And I went online and I ordered another one. And then, wait a minute. And then they wear out. The thing, by the way, sounds like a Mack truck backing up in your mouth.
Out, so I don't know what he's doing with this.
Does yours sound like in your mouth?
What is going on?
Maybe his was
there,
broken
Leo?
because mine did not make all
Lisa across the house would say, "What are you doing? Are you drilling for something?" I said, "No, I'm just pressing." So
something was wrong with yours.
I ordered another one, and then I thought,
There's
"What the
just
hell
loose
am I doing?"
wires in your mouth.
They sell a $60 one that doesn't have all of that
stuff,
but brushes your teeth exactly the same.
Yep.
So
it doesn't let you connect to a botnet, even though neither of them will do that technically.
Yeah. I ordered the cheap one. And I'm happy to say I've had it now for a month, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah,
Still tells you when every 30
it tells you,
seconds.
And I think it probably has also, it'll turn red if you're pressing too hard.
I think it doesn't have that, but I don't press that hard.
That's good.
You shouldn't.
People think they're supposed to press harder than they do.
You should lightly travel over your teeth.
At a 45-degree angle.
And by the way, my dentist said, pause on each tooth.
Yeah.
Give it a chance.
You're not supposed to go do one of these
back and forth because it's not a manual toothbrush.
Movies have lied to us.
They do. And every time I see it, I go.
Does anybody use manual toothbrushes anymore? Jeff?
I do.
So many people, Leo. Most people use manual toothbrushes.
Do you use a manual toothbrush, Paris?
No, I don't.
No, I didn't think so.
But she will stand for the people who do.
I will stand for the rights of those who are not here and Jeff.
I have connected telephone and a manual toothbrush.
Now, is that for the bicep strength?
And a Chromebook that he needs to charge.
So I got the... But I think it was causing my gums to recede.
Oh, yeah.
The dentist was yelling at me.
I wish my gums would recede.
That's because you're pressing too hard.
I just went back to a regular toothbrush.
My dentist
you
said...
just had to spend more on it, so it'd tell you if you're pressing too hard.
My dentist said, I'm proud of you.
Aww.
He said, you're going to keep your teeth till you're dead.
And then was that a threat? It sounded like a threat.
That's kind of a weird thing to say.
Nothing's going to happen to your teeth before you die.
Yeah.
I promise.
He
nothing.
says as he has this dental tool right next to your throat.
But then he retired.
Oh.
So anyway, I just wonder because when my toothbrush broke and I had to use a manual toothbrush, it was
it's so weird, isn't it?
I had floppy wrists like Stacy. It's like I couldn't. Go ahead, try it, you Paris. You can't because it's just
Listen, I forget to charge my toothbrush all the time, so half the time it is manual.
So you use an electric toothbrush like a manual toothbrush. Wow.
I do,
That's weird.
I contain multitudes.
You contain multitudes. Exactly.
Anyway, according to Robert Graham, Errata Rob, he tweeted, BS, there's no evidence 3 million toothbrushes performed a DDoS. What the F is wrong with you people? There are no details, like who's the target of the DDoS? What was the brand of the toothbrush? How are they connected to the internet? Hint, they aren't.
Well, don't I feel a fool?
I repeated the story credulously to Steve Gibson, who will mock me next Tuesday on security. Now. Yes, I travel.
Yes, I've got a special travel carrying case for it.
Oh, no, I bring it with me. Oh, I don't go anywhere.
We were being asked if we travel with our e-toothbrushes. Yeah. And he's saying that's when he manuals.
I'm manual when I travel most of the time.
I manual when I
travel with screwdrivers, these two. They take screwdrivers with them when they travel.
Who?
These two? Which two are you talking about?
There are many theys here.
You mean?
Well, no, who was it? It was you, Leo, who said you travel with No, it was Stacy.
I didn't travel with a screwdriver.
I don't travel with a screwdriver.
I'm just thinking, I'm thinking that you would, Paris, since you saw wood on the street.
Because of the outside.
That's true. I do saw wood in the street.
She builds furniture.
She does have a
I do have an industrial size measuring tape at my office desk just in case.
Just in case.
This is what I travel with.
Oh, and my version of that is during the summer months, I travel with a pair of garden shears in my bag in case there are any low-hanging. I do, because as Jeff, a fellow tall person, will understand, the trees will sometimes be really low, and then no, I'm not stealing anything. The trees will be really low on my walk to and from the subway, and they'll hit me in the head, and no one trims them.
hate that.
So I I do guerrilla gardening.
Are you?
Wait.
Change you
I'm a
need in
fellow
the
turtle
world.
too, but I never thought about doing this. I would always limbo under the trees. Not limbo.
Oh,
I
yeah,
would forward
no.
limbo under
That's
the
for
trees.
wimps.
You're
You
a
gotta go
guerrilla
slow and
gardener.
back.
You go around
I am
with
a guerrilla
shears
gardener.
and you cut.
Yeah, she's a
I am-
guerrilla gardener.
I am joining this club.
It's great. It's phenomenal. It gives you a sense of power.
How big
over
are
the
these
world.
shears?
They're pretty large. I'll see if I can find them.
Do you
They're pretty
put them
nice.
up your sleeve? How
Send
do
them
you-
to me because I'm going to get some and I'm joining your club.
Paris, you are going to make such a great old lady. Oh, these trees are
No,
Why
she
doesn't
is
anybody
Fran
trim these
Lebowitz.
things?
I swear
I
to God,
will.
that's the kind of thing Fran Lebowitz would do.
She smiles a lot more
I
than Fran
travel
Lebowitz.
with this.
Okay,
This
can't find
is
them, but
in
they're like-
case the cabin lights go out.
It looks like
or there's
Wegovy.
an emergency. I can do that. This has a magnet in it, but it conveniently clips to your
A
shirt
magnet
pocket.
for what?
I don't know. So you
can start a heart.
You turn
thing?
on the light to blink red, and then you it's magnetized, so you could put it on your there, and it won't fall off.
So for
much did
specifically
that
for
cost,
that
Leo?
purpose there.
I don't know, but I've had it for a long time. And then this is actually
looks
really
cool.
good. This is a box cutter made out of plastic, so you can bring it on the plane in case you
cut
have any
so many boxes while you're
that open up on the plane.
plane.
What else do I
Oh,
have?
Leo and his merce. Let's empty. Have you ever emptied out your merce?
Yeah, let's go through the merch.
Let's do it.
I want to go
Let's
through the
do it.
merch,
Come
and I want to
on.
go through your
Actually, it's pretty-
Kickstarter
it's
campaigns.
pretty clean.
Those are
Yes,
my two.
exactly. It's a Kickstarter campaign.
Oh, that's you don't want to do that. Anyway,
I do want to know all the products you've.
Where am I going
contributed.
to find these shears? Are you posting them in Discord?
I will. Actually, I think I just got them from my local hardware store, but I'll find them.
okay.
I just make sure that they're like it has a setting to where it has your normal garden shear width, and then you can flip a
Oh, you
switch
can
and it
go
gets
like-
even wider.
Yeah.
So that you can. I've
Wait,
gotten like
Paris,
thick little tree branches.
How
It's
tall
phenomenal.
are you?
I'm only 5'9", but sometimes there's a low-hanging branch.
I think you need
And
to put this on your Instagram the next time you do
Yes.
this. I really want to.
Yes, I think so too.
wanna
I
see
will.
this.
This could be a
I
whole
have some
TikTok
photos.
trend.
What happens when witnessed? Do people look at you funny?
You look like you just have to
They
look
think
like
you're
a
the
woman.
homeowner.
Yeah.
No,
I
it's
was about
New
to say,
York.
no one has ever questioned me, and I've done it a lot.
They think you're the
It's-
homeowner.
I carry them in my work bag during the spring and summer.
Well, this is
'cause
hilarious.
That's when things have grown.
Does any homeowner say, "What are you doing, lady? That's my tree"?
Nope.
No, they're
Never
happy.
once.
They're happy you're doing. You have the right to do that.
Yeah, if it's
I
in
I
believe you
only
have the
do it
right
on like
to
a
do that.
public sidewalk, and if it is low enough that it's like
They're
kind of below
they're
my
impinging,
eyes.
and you have the right to do
and you're
that.
doing a kindness to so many people who follow behind.
That's true.
You're watching This
That's
Week
the
in
thing.
Guerrilla Gardening. I mean, that could
Twig.
be.
That
Twig.
could work. That's the G.
Oh.
Hey,
Twig.
listen, we're always looking for another
This
G.
week
But
in
now,
Guerrilla
Paris, I
Gardening.
got to ask: do you cut it off for someone who's 5'9", or like me for a 6'4"?
Good question.
You-
Listen,
reach up
I
more?
try to kind of do a bit in the middle. I try not to go too crazy with it. I'm trying not to
Damage
severely
the tree,
damage the
yeah.
tree. So I try to just do a bit. I probably try to do around 6 feet.
Can you put
so
an
that-
Amazon link in our show notes here
what
so
I'm
that I can see
I will.
this thing? 'Cause
I will
don't-
find it.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to understand what this
Can't quite
looks
picture
like.
it.
Let me find a
Did you
photo.
get on the subway with this thing?
Yeah,
Is it allowed in banks?
It seems like if I saw
definitely
somebody,
not allowed in
If I
banks.
saw somebody on the subway with a big pair of shears, I might be nervous.
You're like, is that my dentist? He was
What the
threatening me
heck
about
is
my
going
teeth.
on? We'll take a break. We'll come back. More to come with this fun panel of guerrilla gardeners.
Yeah, because we're all tall.
You're watching Twig. YouTube has announced the YouTube TV subscribe. Actually, have they announced it, or are they?
No, they didn't announce it.
Neil figured it out.
Yeah.
No, I think they said.
They did say it. Oh.
Yeah. CEO of YouTube, Neil Mullen, published his annual letter to the YouTube community yesterday. Among other things, he said viewers watch 1 billion hours every day
Golly.
of YouTube TV. And they have now more than 8 million subscribers, which makes it one of the biggest streaming, if not the biggest streaming services. YouTube Premium, YouTube Music have more than 100 million subscribers. So this is a big success for YouTube. It has to be a revenue driver. So that's
They made fun of Google when they bought YouTube.
yeah. I like YouTube TV, but it's not cheap. It is basically It's basic cable is what it is. Actually, not even basic because you can get HBO and other things as well. But I'll tell you what, people who have YouTube TV and have paid the extra money, I think it's $10 a month now for 4K, will be happy this Sunday because they will be watching the Super Bowl in 4K while the rest of you poor suckers will be watching it in some other.
Taylor in 4K.
Yeah, but Leo, it's upscaled 4K. So
it's 1080p upscaled, I understand, but it is HDR.
Does it have commercials? Does it have the same commercials the world will be watching?
So, actually, that's what's interesting about YouTube TV. It depends what you're watching, but you know this because you are all into the ad thing. There are local ads as well as national ads on every program, right? There's that local ad avails. YouTube TV as the local doesn't often have ads there. So that's when they put a moment of zen. I've mentioned this.
Yeah, the moment of
There's
zen,
a little bear in a river, and it says, enjoy this moment of zen, usually not nearly long enough. That's the local ad that they didn't sell, the local avail they didn't sell. So they have the same national ads, yeah.
What did you think, since we're on sports and streaming, you saw the announcement that a lot of the big guys are going to pair together for one
ESPN, which is owned by Disney. I think, are they all owned by Disney? Discovery's not owned by Disney.
This is the sports alone one. This is the sports one.
Yeah.
Put it in there. So,
yeah. ESPN.
Isn't that?
Go ahead.
Is it antitrust? Is my question.
If you're
ESPN,
all playing ball
Fox,
together,
Warner
is that
Brothers,
antitrust?
Discovery.
If you're all playing well together as a team, is that antitrust?
Yeah, it can be. Oh, yes, it can be. That's
Fall of
the definition
2024. They aren't the same company. ESPN is Disney, Fox is Fox, Warner Brothers. Who owns Warner Brothers these days? I don't even know.
I think.
Well, that's Discovery owns them.
Discovery. But who owns Discovery? Subscribers will have access to all the ESPN channels, which are the most expensive channels on cable right now. The SEC Network, the Southern Conference, the ACC Network, ESPN News, ABC, Fox, Fox Sports 1 and 2, BTN, TNT, TBS, True TV, and ESPN Plus. Wow.
No pricing.
No pricing. But sports is the one driver still for live television, isn't it?
Right.
Maybe the Grammys, the Academy Awards, but sports.
But that's once a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just struck me that again, antitrust, that they can all come together. There's no competition. So whether you're a
so they're going to form a new company
league
with its own leadership team.
It's going to be tough. Yep.
Yeah.
It's Hulu of sports.
But they own the content. Well, see, Hulu didn't get in trouble, or did they? I don't think so.
No,
the problem Hulu had is that the partners hated each other, and they were all at each other's throats. And eventually,
one of them bought them all out.
Right. Yeah. Eventually, they all disappeared. CNBC says no price has been determined, but a logical starting point would be $45 or $50 a month.
Who? Where?
Jesus.
I think that's your answer, right? That is antitrust. $50 a month. Come on.
Well,
so
remember,
Lisa's
though,
going to want you to buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We'll buy it. We buy, besides YouTube TV, we buy the NFL Sunday ticket on top of that, which is hundreds of dollars a year. Sports is a big driver. That's why ESPN is the single most expensive basic cable channel out there.
I mean, yeah, it's why they continue to let these poor people bang their heads up against their skulls and suffer lifelong injuries so that they bring in all the money that they're bringing in.
Hey, it's a good game. It's a nice game. They're working to save people's heads. They've got new helmets, and they try really hard. They have a concussion protocol.
Hold on, let me sip this tea.
It's taken. I have to say, it's taken some of the pleasure out of the game, but not all of it. What I'm curious about is if they're going to
garden shears and put it in the chat.
Oh,
and in the rundown.
They're not what you're
also.
expecting. I bet,
the
Leo.
best garden 8-inch poly bypass pruner. Why are they even calling it a bypass pruner? So I can pass by. Oh, they aren't that big. You can carry these in your pocket.
They aren't that big. There's also a photo of me holding them farther up. They're very manageable. You can fit them in a purse, a merce, a shoulder bag.
They're never advertising that. Purse-sized shears.
That one. That's just
for the angry old lady in your life.
No. That's me. I like the strange handle on these shears.
No, these are good.
It looks like you're going to punch.
Yeah, they double as brass knuckles.
No.
The brass knuckles. Huge.
Wow. Is there a little self-defense component in this?
No. not at all.
I mean, if the person holds out their fingers and doesn't move them.
Exactly.
Jeez Louise.
When the homeowner comes out and says, "Don't you do that to us," boom, they're going to lose their finger.
That's true. Yeah. If they hold it still and give me a minute to get it set up.
You're like, hold on, hang on, hold on.
Hold on, I gotta do the extra wide.
Yeah,
setting.
I gotta flip the switch here. Hold on.
Those are them.
Now, you missed a bet here. You really should have put your Amazon affiliate
That's true.
code on this.
Listen, we're doing a show. I haven't had a time to figure
Can't really
out
plan it.
See, I really
How to do
thought
an Amazon
there were these
affiliate
big
link?
old shears where you've got the long wooden handles and you're just.
So
I mean, that would be very funny.
That's what I thought they were too. I was really, because you need the leverage.
Yeah.
The big tree branches. What's interesting about this ESPN Fox Warner deal is traditionally, and I remember this from the old days of Tech TV. Tech TV was terrified of the cable operators. Our deal with cable operators would only allow us to, for instance, put 10 minutes of every hour online. The cable operators are very afraid of streaming. But clearly the balance of power has shifted at this point. And ESPN obviously thinks, hey, we don't have to worry about cable operators anymore because you'll pay $50, but you won't be necessarily paying for cable. This is for cord cutters, right? So I think it's very interesting. The problem is that cord cutting is increasingly expensive, to the point where you're not saving money over your cable bill. It's a skinny bundle, they call it.
A scundle, if you will.
If you will.
I won't.
No. Please don't.
Yeah.
So two things happened today. Today in history, Blazing Saddles came out 50 years ago.
God bless.
Wow.
I think we should all watch Blazing Saddles tonight. By the way, highly politically incorrect, right? Prepare yourself.
There was a story somewhere that said it just couldn't be made today.
Probably not.
Mm-hmm. No, if Mel Brooks was still around, he could make that.
He would make it. He is still around.
I mean, if he's still around making movies.
Right. I think he's still around. He is, isn't he? He's 100. He's getting on.
That was the great old MTV game show category, dead or Canadian.
He is 97 years old now.
Wow.
And I don't think he's actively working. But if he keeps this up, he will be the 2,000-year-old man. So good on him. Everybody, if you've not seen Blazing, you've seen that.
I didn't know he was an EGOT.
He is an EGOT.
Yep.
Good for him.
That's a Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony.
How did he get a Grammy? Oh, recorded comedy.
Yeah, the 2,000-year-old man, I think.
Of
He
course,
did with Carl Reiner.
Yeah, right. Yes, exactly.
50 years old, too disgusting and vulgar for modern. Let me read this from the Independent. It was too dirty for John Wayne to accept a part, too disgusting and vulgar for the chairman of Warner Brothers, who threatened to bury the film. But Mel Brooks stuck to his guns, refusing to make edits, and was vindicated. Blazing Saddles turns 50 today. A massive hit. And Brooks himself said, the funniest motion picture ever made.
Well,
That's what I say. This podcast, funniest podcast ever made.
Actually, though, we know Mel Brooks is a legend and a success, but at the time, he was 46. He was unemployed. He says he was absolutely broke, even though his earlier movie, The Producers, was a hit. His wife, Anne Bancroft, was expecting their first child. So this was a risky time for him to push and make this movie. Yes, there's the famous campfire scene. Richard Pryor was in it, right? And to have Pryor in a movie was also a very controversial thing at the time. Cleavon Little with his famous scene. There's in the N-word, you can't punch a horse. You can't hit an old lady, and the farting scene has to go.
This is precisely why it could be made today, because back in the 70s, they were way more conservative.
Were they, though? Were they?
Definitely. Of course. You're thinking they
There's a different kind of conservatism, though, nowadays, right? There's this political correctness thing. In the 70s, I don't know. I think 70s movies were a little bit bolder.
I don't know, man.
I mean,
Brooks was a North American Indian chief who talked with a Yiddish accent. Anyway, it is political commentary. It is hysterical. It is a classic, and it is 50 years old. Also today, maybe we'll say this from 50 years from now, Google Bard becomes Gemini.
They're highly related.
Gemini is the new name of Google's AI. And apparently...
So Bard is gone as a brand? Done?
Yeah. The changelog dated February 7th says Bard is now Gemini. Also in the changelog, we're committed to giving everyone direct access to Google AI, and as of this week, every Gemini user across our supported countries and languages has access to Google's best family of AI models. To better reflect this commitment, we've renamed Bard to Gemini.
Oh, can I tell you guys something awful? It's completely unrelated. Someone last week was telling me that they went to Bard College. And all week, I've been thinking to myself, Bard College, why do I feel like I've heard a lot about Bard College recently? I was like looking this up. I was on their Wikipedia page yesterday. And I was just realized because we've been talking about Google Bard.
It's Google Bard.
For weeks. It's Google Bard.
Actually, my daughter matriculated at Bard College. Freshman year was at Bard. The snow got to her. She left. But you know who else went to Bard? Chevy Chase.
Ooh. Oh.
And it was at Bard that he met Donald Fagen and Steely Dan. And I don't know if people know this. I just learned this myself. Chevy Chase was the original drummer for Steely Dan.
What?
Wow.
What?
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 Chevy Chase is apparently an accomplished musician before he was a comedian even.
Before he was an obnoxious old man.
Yeah.
Grumpy.
Well, and that's how I know, because I listened to his prickly interview with Mark Maron on WTF, and he talks about this. What? Maybe he was making it up, but I think it sounded sincere. Let's see.
Now we can't let that go.
That sounded sincere.
Chevy Chase.
Yeah, you could look this up.
Steely Dan. How he almost became Steely Dan's drummer.
Almost. In the early days of Steely Dan, he was their drummer. I don't know, maybe they weren't Steely Dan yet. But they were all at Bard together.
They were Rusty Dan.
By the way, Bard's a very good college
Iron
if you
Dan.
ever want to go back to school. Paris Martineau. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's not too far.
Abby loved it. Abby really loved it.
Just not the snow.
Well, there was 5 feet of snow all winter. It was not...
Well, I mean, we don't have that problem anymore.
Yeah, maybe not, yeah.
Too soon.
Great story from CNN. Now, again, I'm trusting CNN. It doesn't have toothbrushes, but it is kind of hard to believe. A finance worker at a multinational firm, unnamed multinational firm, received a text saying, purportedly from the company's UK-based chief financial officer, saying we need you to help us with a secret $25 million transaction. The worker was reasonably, as I would hope our employees would be, skeptical until he was invited to a video call with recognizably the voices and faces of the chief financial officer and other colleagues, all of whom said, no, you need to send these 200 million Hong Kong dollars to this address. He did. Now, I believe this is true because Hong Kong police had a briefing. They've made arrests in the past. 8 stolen Hong Kong identity cards, all of which have been reported lost by their owners, were used to make 90 loan apps. This is a separate...
Super sophisticated.
Separate story. But this is not the first time. But this is the first time Deepfake video in real time, live.
Wow, that's hard to combat if...
Yeah, wouldn't you believe it?
If you're a remote worker,
Yeah. You get online with me and Lisa. We say, Micah, I need you to run to Amazon and buy $1 million worth of gift cards. You would do it.
No.
he would.
You would.
I hear you say kindly, and you.
All right. Let me ask you this, Micah. How would you know to quiz Leo with something the AI couldn't know? That you know that only Leo knows. And if he doesn't know it, he's fake Leo.
Oh, that's a good question. I would ask Leo to tell me I don't know if Leo would remember this now. Think about it. What we ate.
He's an old man.
At Skywalker Ranch. Because
food. I believe it was food. But I could be wrong.
No, I could ask him.
No, you're on the right track.
Yeah,
There's things that we have done together that no man should ever speak of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Benito, what would your
if I went to Benito, if a deepfake Leo went to Benito, how would you find out Benito doesn't know me as well as Micah does.
That's why
I would just ask for his credit card number so it wouldn't be on my credit card.
Yeah, and by the way, what kind of company allows this underling to write a check for $25 million
sounds like they're
without
pretty far
a
up
second
the chain, right?
You couldn't do that even at Twit. You'd have to get a second signature.
Yeah.
So there's anyway, the Hong Kong police had a press conference.
They're on it. Don't worry.
They're on it. They also said, watch your toothbrush.
And wash your toothbrushes.
Microsoft.
Yeah, both.
Yes. Oh, that is a good point.
Mm-hmm.
You should bathe your toothbrush frequently.
And whenever you change your toothbrush head, that's when you're supposed to wash your toothbrush. You use the old toothbrush
if it's
head
a black
to scrub down the
toothbrush, doesn't it get gunky with white toothpaste?
Yeah, except I use black toothpaste. You wouldn't know about that because you're not black, so. And I represent
Did you
all
get it
black
at the
people,
barber
just
shop?
so you know. I got it at the barber shop, yeah. Just kidding. None of that is true. I don't use black toothpaste because the fact that they put charcoal in toothpaste now, like it's supposed to really do something.
Do they put charcoal?
They make black toothpaste.
They've been putting charcoal in it for a while.
My hygiene
Concerns
secret
me.
is charcoal soap.
Do you butter it?
Did you know this is actually a white
which side,
suit?
top or bottom? Yeah.
No, I only buy soap with charcoal in it. And it works quite well.
It absorbs.
It absorbs
Why?
odors. Well, so that you won't smell me.
He wants no scent, so when the predators come, he's safe.
I don't. I can't put cologne on. Lisa's very sensitive to perfumes. So notice you can't smell me. You're sitting right next to me. Can you smell me? Do you know I'm
did
here?
smell you when you put your face in front of him.
Yeah, I don't smell anything. You're right.
Let's get back to tech.
Yeah.
Microsoft.
That was natural tech.
I love this show.
Yeah.
God, I love this show.
I'm so embarrassed. Microsoft is in a deal with Semafor. This is a little scary. Now, I like Semafor. It's a great publication.
Yeah.
To create news stories, not news, with the AI chatbots, with the aid of AI chatbots.
In particular,
helping the journalists do it, but I can't
side,
figure out what it is.
So Semafor has newsletters. That's their, I think that's their business model.
yeah.
Well,
right?
they have a site too.
Yeah, but there's no ads on
Their main
site.
business model has kind of pivoted to selling sponsorships in newsletters.
Right.
And specifically, they're able to be lucrative sponsorships because they're targeting kind of the same model as like Axios or Politico Pro, movers and shakers on the Hill and whatnot.
And this is an old model.
You'll have Enron will sponsor your climate change newsletter or whatever.
Right. This is an old model. You remember, of course, Jeff, magazines like PC Week, industry mags. They were free, but you had to qualify for them because those were very lucrative ads because they knew that you were a qualified audience. So this is kind of like that. Semafor's website still, ad free, I think. But yes, the newsletter.
They also do events.
Yeah, there's all sorts of ways. I think Semafor is really good, and I really like their international coverage. I use it. I check it every single day. And
I'm going to see their person next week, and I'll tell them.
Oh, good. It's the Smiths, right?
I have quite a few of the people on the site on Tech News Weekly.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some really excellent people that they got from all over. Is Reed Albergati there?
Yep.
Yeah.
He is?
He does their tech newsletter. So one of the newsletters, not all of them, one of the newsletters called Signals, which is a breaking news feed, I probably subscribe to that, will be created with the help of an AI. So I'm not sure. It's unclear
my understanding,
how they're going to
I
do it.
believe they had some examples that were things like they're using ChatGPT and asking questions like, how are news outlets around the world covering Biden's trip to wherever, with examples. And so then using that to get examples of how coverage is from a variety of different news sources.
It'll always be written by humans.
They say.
They say, yes, this is a good point. And that it's helping with the research and gathering aspect of
which is okay.
The newsletter.
We have a phrase called greenwashing.
I think it's okay.
where you partner with ecos and startups to greenwash your
Mother Nature
pollution,
herself,
or Mother Nature herself in the case of Apple. We need a name for AI washing, because Microsoft not only did this, but on Monday they announced collaborations with the Craig Newmark School of Journalism.
The what?
The Online News Association, ONA, which is a great group. I've spoken to them. I like them. And the Ground Truth Project. So what is Microsoft up to? Is this a kind of AI washing?
Yeah, it is. It is. The same thing OpenAI does, too. That's the strategy.
Yeah.
And, listen, I raised money for my school, from Facebook and Google over the years.
Right.
And we put it to good use. So fine.
So
Yeah.
And actually, as you know, I'm an AI enthusiast. And
actually, the first act of AI washing was when,
when they
Sam
gave me $1
Altman
million.
went on a long walk
with
Leo.
With a black
so
bag.
Oh, is that when he started to
back
say
a
that
bit
AI
richer.
needed rights, like human rights?
Yeah.
Was that when
Specifically. He said, I went on a long walk with an unnameable AI luminary, and now I believe AI is the future.
And we never checked
and
him
he's
for a
only
chip
gotten
in the
more
back of his
radical.
head. It's so
That's
dumb.
true. I mean, maybe he was saying he doesn't smell. Computers
oh
don't
my
smell, guys.
God.
We're cracking the case wide
Hang
open
on.
here.
Wait, but at the same time, he's advocating for us spending less time on our devices. So is that like a ploy?
That's a fake.
I think it's kind of a reverse psychology.
It is.
Because he knows that you are going to be motivated to prove him
Michael,
wrong.
and I'd love you to try this. I have a little device you could just put in your ear.
Oh, dear God.
That will.
Elon Musk has a lot of great things about it.
He has a lot of great things to put in your ear.
Amazon is debuting an AI shopping assistant in its mobile app called Rufus.
I'm sorry, Rufus.
Oh, no.
That's so
Tell me
delightful.
something good. Tell me.
Why Rufus?
Why, Rufus?
Some research. Somebody brand.
That could be a show title, too.
Yeah.
Why?
Rufus.
Why
All
Rufus?
of Rufus.
Rufus.
Both of us. Rufus, meanwhile, is a generative AI experience that's been trained. By the way, this is the kind of use of AI that it seems to me to most positive.
Yes.
Trained on the product catalog, customer reviews, community Q&As, and information around the web. So when you're on the thing and you're saying, well, these shears cut a 6-inch branch, you ask Rufus.
And Rufus says, not only will it cut a 6-inch branch, it will also cut a finger if the finger is held still for a period of 30 seconds. No, but I have loved...
Thank you, Rufus.
Thanks, Rufus. We love you. I have loved that Amazon started to do the AI summaries of reviews. And
I think it's great.
I think that's a fantastic use of it.
Where AI really excels is where it has a specific corpus of knowledge that it can refer to, and then
or a few corpora, as you would say,
or corpora.
Whoa.
Multiple
I would,
corpi.
but
I would, right. Please don't make me say that.
So last week on AI Inside, Jason and I interviewed Sven Stürmer Toglo, I forget his last name, from Shipstead, the publisher.
I hope you introduced him like that, by the way.
I hope I didn't. God, I've screwed up the name. I know I haven't. It's really embarrassing. No, it's Sven Stürmer Taulo.
Okay.
And so at Shipstead, which is a very enlightened publishing company.
Oh, Shipstead,
They took their version of Engadget and put all of it in as a corpus, and then allowed readers to come in and say, oh, I've got a small room, there's a lot of light, my couch is this far away, what TV should I get? Which is just simply a different user interface with that data.
We are so close to this. You know, Apple just announced, and it's going to come out in the next few weeks, that every podcast you subscribe to in Apple Podcasts will have a transcript. Mm-hmm. They will generate a transcript.
Doing it, yep.
And that means that there will suddenly be this huge corpus of knowledge from the podcasts you listen to that could be ingested and queried. I really think this is a fascinating use of AI.
I talked to an editor recently, and I suggested, why don't you have 100 citizens across your large state each record the school board meeting in their town for 1 week, and then transcribe it into AI, and then query that data and find out something no set of reporters could have ever done. Or I talked to another editor yesterday in LA and said, why don't you take all of the copy from all of the diasporal international language newspapers in LA have it translate it, and then also query that data. What are they talking about? What are these communities? Right? What are these communities concerned about?
By the way,
it scales activities.
I just
Oh God, no!
I just looked up the word diaspora because I don't think that's a word.
Well, it's an adjective, right?
It turns out it is it's a magnesium supplement for life on the move.
Hey, look, I love that it's both of the most AI-generated people you've ever seen. Men with popped collars and women that they're carrying on their backs.
For some reason, they're
plenty
giving
of
them
chest hair.
piggyback because they've been taking diaspora. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I love that the Google description for this is one of the keys to this is magnesium. That is, the mineral helps us be physically and mentally fit in any situation.
By the way, I thought
Even
I
when
used to
we
take
face
it. You don't want to take that.
What?
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, no, things happen. Things happen that you don't want to happen.
A lot happens.
It's almost
Just
as
tell me.
good as those sugar-free gummy bears.
Oh,
that they
that'll
were
get you
selling.
moving.
Oh, that will get you moving.
So, wait, there's no adjectival form of diaspora?
I don't know.
Diasporic.
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 That is mostly potassium. Just in case you want to know.
It's also fungal.
Do not use the word tapestry in a sentence, or beacon, or comprehensive curriculum, or esteemed faculty. That is really a giveaway. Esteemed faculty. Actually, if I were to use that in my college essay, they would have just said, you're a suck-up, and we're not going to accept you. Vibrant academic community. These are all words, according to Forbes, that are a sign that you're using ChatGPT to write your college acceptance essay.
They keep wanting to find. We're going to find you. We're going to get you. No, the machine's going to be smarter than them in that way.
Forbes asked several essay consultants on the
Forbes.
platform.
It's Forbes, by the way.
Forbes,
Let's
by the
just
way, it's
say
a
that.
BS story.
It's Forbes.
They asked the platform Fiverr, they asked some people.
Oh, boy.
Mike, an Ivy League alum and former editor-in-chief of the Cornell Business Journal, said tapestry. Tapestry is a giveaway. He says it's a pure
Dead giveaway.
Dead giveaway.
Tapestry.
Don't you? Well, would you ever use the word tapestry in an article?
A rich tapestry of
No, you wouldn't do that.
provocative.
Listen to what Micah was talking about the seed, the mustard seed of faith. I loved that. And then he was talking about this vision of putting all this shattered glass on his ceiling. Micah would use tapestry.
I might use tapestry, and
It
then
would
they
come
would
out
think
of
I
it.
When
was
did you
lying.
say the mustard seed of faith?
Earlier when
You
I was
said it.
Yeah, I was
Wow.
talking about if you could believe that the table was real, just a mustard seed of faith, then you could say
isn't that
I
great?
missed that. That is
That is
incredible.
beautiful. I miss
Yeah, it
those.
is.
That's because of religious trauma. That's why I have mustard
You're
seed.
well trained.
That's good.
Yeah. He says, I no longer
Is
believe.
that an actual? Hold on 1 second. Is that an actual phrase from?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
biblical. Yeah.
Just look it up. Mustard seed.
That's all the faith you need to be able to like do great works through God is a mustard seed of faith.
Shall I just?
And
For
to build an
truly I
IKEA
will
table.
tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you.
And as a kid, by
Those of you
God,
who
I
couldn't see,
believe
Micah
that.
was moving his hands as if he still had
The mustard seed of faith.
No, as if he still had the
vision.
goggles on and was moving them out.
Oh,
The
if you
mountain
think
within
about
him.
it, the little Vision Pro gestures are like you're pinching a mustard seed of faith.
Ooh.
Now, here's going to be the test. If Jeff gets an Instagram ad with a T-shirt that says, if you have faith as a small mustard seed, then
As a
we'll
small
know.
mustard seed. What are you
mustard
Italian?
seed.
As a
You
small
can raise the
mustard.
mountain, move from here to there. Nothing will be impossible to you.
I'm sorry that
I
they
am
are
the
so
Pope.
sacrilegious. Please forgive them. They know not what they
They
do.
know not what.
we do.
No, that's because
Do not know what we do.
It's because as a kid, I spent so much time, but I literally would carry, I'm not even kidding to you. I went to my mom's
mustard
cabinet and I carried a mustard seed around with
Wow.
me. So when I was doing
Wow.
prayers to try to make things
that's really
happen,
sweet.
I would pray with that mustard seed in my hand and nothing ever happened.
It's a little literal.
Very little. No, it was a talisman.
You were a kid.
It was a talisman.
Yeah.
It was like, if I can have this much faith. It wasn't
Yeah.
that I thought the mustard seed was doing anything. It was like visualization. You know what I mean? I was balancing my chi.
That's really sweet.
Literary childhood.
I did. I had a rich tapestry in childhood. And honestly, my esteemed colleagues I had at the time were...
We knew you were a fake.
By the way, Mike, who Forbes does not give a last name to, says, I no longer believe there's a way to innocently use the word tapestry in an essay. If the word tapestry appeared, it was generated by ChatGPT. There will be a reckoning. There will be, he says this, it's a quote. There will be a reckoning. There are going to be a ton of students who unwittingly use the word tapestry in their essay that may not be admitted this time around.
Wait,
are we sure that Mike is in ChatGPT?
Why is May
I think Mike
added?
is short for Micah.
I don't know.
It may have been me. They didn't check the credentials when they called me on Fiverr or whatever.
Jeez Louise, Mike. Thanks, Mike.
There will be a reckoning.
There will be a reckoning. The mustard seed of faith shall smite you.
And
Just like I smite this fruit.
Yes, I will slice the fruit.
All right. This is the point where I've used up all of my stories. If any of you would like to bring up something from your trove, you may
From
at
your
this
tapestry.
point. Your tapestry, your rich tapestry of stories.
You see, I should prepare for this moment, but I don't.
AI trained on a
gonna
baby's experience.
Sorry.
I guess.
How do you do that?
Oh,
Well, you have to wear
What?
this special hat.
The baby
apparently.
wears a helmet with a camera.
does the baby have a GoPro?
Hold on. They're putting...
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
no, the baby does have a GoPro.
Do not make your child...
That was the answer.
Please, no. I never
That
thought the
is-
answer to the question.
That
parents
head is
asked.
just a soft spot. We can't have a GoPro on it.
This kid is definitely going to use the word tapestry in their college essay. I know it.
They'll use a lot more words
Holy-
than that. They're going to
holy
say,
cow.
my parents strapped a GoPro to my head as a baby. Please let me into college. I need this. And they're going to get in.
We're like, I've been in therapy for 15
years.
years.
But apparently, they used AI. In a paper published Thursday in the journal Science, researchers at NYU report that AI, given just a tiny fraction of the fragmented experiences of one child, can begin to discern order, learning that there's something called a crib, stairs, or a puzzle, matching those words correctly with their images. So
That's cool.
it is. They're teaching the AI through this. It's fascinating.
And what the moral of the story is that a child can learn with a lot less data
Right. Yeah, they're better at it, of course.
than the machine.
Yeah.
So they're trying to figure out how the kid figures it out.
Yeah.
How does this baby work? Strap a GoPro. We'll find out. There will be a record.
But the kids look happy with it.
Yeah,
They're
the
all
kid-
smiling in the pictures.
Oh, they don't care.
That's
They got
because there's a
pink
camera
helmet.
on them, just like Taylor Swift.
There you go. Elon almost sold Tesla to Google for $11 billion. I wish he had. Actually, I'm glad he didn't. I don't think that Google would have been a good,
Yeah, good steward.
good steward. He came close because they were almost out of money in 2012 or 2013, I guess, shortly after they released the Model S. And this is in the Ashley Vance book, which I actually interviewed Ashley for Triangulation. We've interviewed a lot of people.
We have, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can. I think we can go to your. I see you looking at your watch.
See, no.
I think it's time.
I got a
perhaps.
notification.
Okay, I think it's time to wrap it up.
We got a few TikToks if you want.
Okay.
We do have a few TikToks.
TikTok Grammy. What should we start with?
This is we talked about her before. This is a young star who's made her entire career on TikTok. Leve. You and I talked about her a long time ago, and she won a Grammy.
Wow.
You know, Lil Nas X also. Oh, I got to do the puzzle piece. I hate this.
He's real. I think he's real.
Lil Nas X.
Not sure.
Also went from TikTok to superstar. So her song is Bewitched, Laufey, and she.
Leve.
Sorry?
It's an Icelandic. Leve.
It's pronounced Leve. It's spelled Laufey, but she is an Icelandic. That's wonderful. A citizen who made her bones on TikTok. Very good. Congratulations.
And
to
then
Leve.
down on line 112, we have
Yes,
another
yes.
TikTok here, which is disgusting.
Oh.
We're calling the Raclette Police, and there is a Raclette Police TikTok Twitter account because this cooking thing is insisting that this is how you make raclette. It is
Oh no,
a crime.
Oh,
it is that time of
no.
year when you see a lot of raclette out there. No, you don't peel
That's
it off
true.
the cheese.
It gets worse. It gets worse.
Okay, they're
it gets
pouring
so much worse.
slivovitz on here into the. Oh, he made a groove in the cheese, and he poured slivovitz into it or something like that. That's
gonna
what
get
they
a lot
use.
Now
worse.
it's going in the raclette machine. to be
That's
melted.
right. That's correct. That's where you melt it.
This is
right?
correct.
Yes.
We're in a correct.
It's on fire.
But
It's on fire.
it is
That's what
burning.
It does. Now he's
Then
got
he takes
2 pieces
plain
of bread,
Wonder Bread.
dunks it in egg,
He's making French
dunks
toast.
it in egg together, and now it
Wait,
is
why are they both
dunking
still
it in
together?
more bread crumbs.
Makes no sense. Well, you'll see though. You'll see.
Oh,
The
is that
bread
hot
is-
oil over there?
he's
That's hot oil.
breading
isn't it?
the
yeah.
bread.
That's hot oil.
Yep.
Oh no!
Wait,
now
it
he's
gets worse.
deep
he's
frying
deep fried
the bread.
which is kind of a.
Okay.
I think it's
You
funny
wait.
to bread before you deep fry
Yeah,
it.
it
but
is.
okay.
It's breaded together, which is odd.
Yeah,
This is
two
French
slices.
grilled cheese. It says on the video.
That's not
Now he
what
takes
this
it
is.
out of the.
Do French even use any kind of?
No, it's Swiss.
oil?
Raclette is Swiss.
Oh, that's.
So now he's going to take the bread that he's made here together and cut off the top.
Because who would want a crust? Oh, he's
Because
made a pouch.
Made it into fake pita.
Oh, he's made a
This is
calzone.
Okay, I'm done. I don't want to watch.
No,
anymore.
keep going because it gets so disgusting.
So he's putting it on a
Then he
glass.
puts
What are
in
those?
Then
What's
he
he
puts
putting
crap
in?
in there.
What are those?
He's
Puts
filling it.
onions
Onions?
and
chicken or
croutons in
something?
And then
there.
finally,
Wait, he put bread
I'm
on the breaded
off
bread.
your train, Jeff. This looks good. This looks delicious. I eat this. Listen, now he's putting the raclette in it. It
Into
looks
this.
great.
But what about the
It looks
hole, the
perfect.
crater?
There's Italian meats that are clearly coming up next.
Wait,
I'm
yeah,
here
you're going to
for
see
it.
that. You're going to see that in a second, and that won't be the end of it.
I think he's running out of
Yeah.
room. I don't see how it could be any. There's no room.
This whole thing's going to go into a Bloody Mary, isn't it?
Yeah, he's gonna blend this afterwards. Oh, that's phenomenal. Listen,
And
there's meat
he just
happening there.
stuffs the ham down into it. Just
And then little cornichons. Love that.
that looks good. Yeah.
and then a little more cheese couldn't hurt.
Actually, I'm all.
I would
I'm on
eat
board
this,
for
but I
this.
just
This
can't
is
call
great.
it a raclette, right?
It's
It's not French grilled cheese raclette, that's
No,
for sure.
it's
But it is
nothing.
delicious.
Yeah. Okay.
That's disgusting.
Okay, I've got a TikTok, but it's my pick of the week, so we're gonna have to.
All right.
do
Let's take a
little bit
break.
of both.
The back of the book, the picks coming up as you continue to watch this stupid ass show.
Hey,
Hey,
Micah, did you bring a pick? of the
No,
week?
didn't know that was
good. No, I have two. So you can have the first one.
whoa! You've got one.
All right.
More
I
than
got
last
more than
two?
one.
Wow.
You got me started last week. This cracked me up. Did you ever watch a show?
wait. Before you do it, has Paris ever heard of or seen this show?
That's what I was going to ask.
What is the show?
WKRP in Cincinnati. You know that show?
No.
Okay. It's a classic.
Micah? Have
No.
you?
Oh, wow. These people are young. It's about,
We are old.
when was it a hit? The 80s, the 90s? 90s, I think. But it's about a ragtag bunch of crew that works at a radio station.
A lovable loser radio
and
station.
the star of the show is Dr. Johnny Fever.
78.
78, wow. But also
older than you think.
Also in there is Les Nessman, the newsman, who and then there's the boss of the radio station. There's
Mr.
I can't remember his name. There's Howard. Is it Howard? There's the guy, the salesman, who wears plaid pants, and at one point for Thanksgiving they decide to throw turkeys out of a helicopter, sort of as not frozen, like live turkeys out of a helicopter.
Living turkeys to see if they actually fly.
The problem is they don't fly, and so they've got Les Messman, their newscaster, narrating it, and it's now a meme. As God is eyewitness,
horror.
I thought turkeys could fly. It's a very funny scene.
no.
Anyway, somebody has taken every DJ break, because he's a fake DJ on TV, but by the way, it's hard to see this show now because they don't have the music rights for all the music. They played a lot of music from that era, so they don't have the music rights, but somebody who doesn't care, obviously, has taken all of Johnny Fever's spoken words and mixed them in with the songs that he was playing, which I can't play either, but it's the WKRP Johnny Fever mix, and I think it's on Spotify.
He quite literally can't play it.
I wish I could. I really want you to listen to this because it's hysterical. Can I play the Johnny Fever parts? I don't know. Let me.
It's hard to get the voice in. I went through it a little bit.
Yeah. He plays great music because it's 1978, right? But he's kind of a reprobate. He got fired from his last job for saying the word booger on the air. So anyway, that's pick number one. I guess I can't really play it. This one I can play. This is called ASCII Theater. There's a new movie every week at ASCII Theater.
I remember that.
This looks like The Shining, doesn't it? Yeah, The Shining.
Oh, this is so cool.
So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it in my terminal. So let me open up my terminal.
We're going to the terminal.
We're going to the terminal.
Here we go.
Hacker voice, he's in.
Paste this in. Now watch, get ready. I'm SSHing to the ASCII Theater website. It's going to download this and start playing The Shining. In ASCII, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think you can be taken down for that. Can you?
I don't think so.
It's
Your
streaming.
toothbrush is going to explode tonight.
Streaming text to my terminal program in color, by the way, full color. This is ASCII.theater. And this guy's
I think they did the Barbie movie the other day.
Different movie every day. It's wild. I don't know if I can't scrub ahead. So we'll just have to.
Once you're there, you're there.
Just have to watch the.
I think that counts as
It's a theater.
right?
You can't
That's
control it.
This is transformative. I don't think
it is
this
transformative.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to not watch The Shining because they saw it this way.
It's hard to do closed captions.
Sure.
Really slow part.
Yeah, here's Johnny. Well, you know what? They're going down a road. Oh, that's right. They're going to the resort.
It's a helicopter
This would be great to play in the background of a party.
Oh, yeah. Brett, put it on the wall.
Only after
like
the
a
drugs.
projector.
Yeah.
Only after the drugs.
Isn't that wild?
I think animated movies might be fun too.
Yeah.
Maybe better. I don't know.
Ooh.
Less detail, so probably they do a better job.
I'm trying to read it, and it really doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Tomorrow, The Wheel. Mad Men, The Wheel. I don't know what that is. This is a crazy idea, but I love it. ASCII Theater at ASCII.theater, ASCII.
That's awesome.
Text-based movies in your terminal. You do need an app that has a terminal. There's Shrek.
If only they had Terminal in the Vision Pro.
And by the way, the website's got popcorn, which I really love. ASCII Popcorn.
ASCII Popcorn.
All right, that's my pick. Paris Martineau, what do you got for us?
My pick is a TikTok I came across this week that has captivated me. One question to lead up to this that I should have known before I did this. How do you pronounce the full name of Phil
Punxsutawney.
Punxsutawney.
Phil.
So
now
this
that was
is
on. I missed it. It was February 2nd. I missed it.
February 2nd. It was Groundhog Day. You know who didn't miss it is this TikToker Olive Songs, who is doing a musical song he writes every single day, and the lead up to this is that it is Punxsutawney Phil has an elixir that he has to drink to last forever, and this is a ballad he's sung to his wife Phyllis, who does not take the elixir, and it's incredible.
It is one groundhog singing to another.
You could have the fame of Phyllis. I'd give up all the fame. You can have the overbearing stares, the noisy crowds, the holy shadow, and the shame of Phyllis.
Oh my God,
this guy's a Sondheim.
It's phenomenal. It's actually like such a good song.
I'll say these words again and again, but by then you're bound to leave.
Does he do one of these every day?
Every single day.
That is
very talented.
I'm following him.
Yeah, me too.
And so now there have been a bunch of different duets of people potentially singing Phyllis's part, which is phenomenal.
So screw the Universal Music Group because you could do this. Did you put a link to the Phyllis parts?
I did. The Phyllis one, the best one.
That's the rebuttal from Phyllis. This is a duet with the same guy. By Joan Woods.
Now I have to do this for myself.
You can have the fame of Phyllis.
It isn't about the fame, Phil.
You can have the overbearing stares, the noisy crowds, the holy shadow and the shame of Phyllis.
You never listened.
Don't pretend you want
I
this.
told you that I did.
Don't
I'm
be
not
so
naive.
This gives me
so
goosebumps.
good.
It's good Ant isn't here because he would hate this, but
I know, that's the thing. As I was thinking, I was like, oh, I can talk about musicals.
oh, he's
He
already
said he's
complaining.
leaving,
He
yeah.
says, "My ears, I'm out of here."
I'm sure.
Wow. So who is? It's Olive Songs.
11.
One
Olive
word.
Songs 11.
All of Songs 11.
11. Olive
It's
Songs 11. I'm going to follow
phenomenal.
him right now. He is
Yeah,
definitely
he does
What
a
a
lot
great
of really.
find.
super talented. Yeah.
It's so good.
Love it. All right. He's done
Yeah.
quany a few, it looks like here.
How many
He's done
hours of
quite a-
TikTok did you have to go through before that came up in your feed?
Honestly, that came up. Was the first thing the other day, and then I just stopped and listened to that song about 3 or 4 times.
Here's one for
It's a pretty good
the
use of TikTok.
the end of winter. Where do all the geese go?
Oh, this is really good, actually.
Kids in the playground laughing on the swing set.
Oh, it's not just theater, musical theater.
dogs can't help but bark.
We got to get him a good
You gotta wait till you get to the
Everyone goes away. and
chorus of this.
Moonlight fills the park. I can't help but wonder what happens after dark.
So this exactly was my point about the Grammys and the music establishment.
Yes.
There are so many talented people.
So much talent out there.
And they're not
They're
signed.
just out there.
They're just out there. But thank you for TikTok.
Goosebumps.
You know what? This is why TikTok is so great. These
Exactly.
These kids, these young kids, someday they're going to get a music contract, and we'll see them
I mean, that's the
on
thing.
the
Is
Grammy stage.
I would pay top dollar to go watch a Phil the Groundhog musical right now, and that's
great.
something I did not know I needed.
Very nice. Olive Songs.
here's
11
another
on
one. So,
TikTok. He only has
Anna Lapwood-
48,000 followers. It's like
Oh, he's
he
got a
hasn't
lot
been
more.
discovered.
Now the Paris
yet.
knows him.
Yeah. Wow.
So Anna Lapwood, who I've talked about, who's this wonderful young musician who is an organist and a fellow at the Royal Albert Hall, and she puts up her rehearsals all the time. And when there's rock bands, they say, "Oh my God, can you play with us?" She just got an MBE. That's to say, she was on the King's honor list.
Wow.
She made her name. She's Cambridge University. She's the real thing. But Anna made her name on TikTok. She's gotten music covers, albums. She now has a world tour. She's coming to Princeton soon.
Awesome.
And I will go.
Wow.
I will go watch her recital.
I'm a fan of TikTok. My son is making a living thanks to TikTok. I mean, it really works. It's amazing. And that's why it's so sad when people like Josh Hawley take aim at it just for political gain.
Amen.
It's sad. What do you have for us, Jeff Jarvis?
Well, okay, so we'll stay on that for a second. On social media, Pew has its Americans on social media usage. 83% of American adults use YouTube. Most adults use YouTube. 68% use Facebook. I know what you're going to say. It's just the grown-ups, but wait a second. Almost half, 47% of adults use Instagram. But if you go down then and look at, so a third of U.S. adults now say they use TikTok, up from 21% in 2021. But then if you go to the youngest U.S. adults, I know you're going to think that, oh, they're not on Facebook. But in fact, Facebook is more clustered in age than any other. Instagram has a lot of people who are young, very few who are I'm sorry, yes, a lot of people who are young, very few who are old. But on Facebook, it's clustered in of users of all ages who are still, regardless of the reputation, using Facebook. So that's one. I got another one here too, relevant to the entire discussion with poor Micah, and thank you, Micah, for your sacrifices for the show. Where we're debating whether or not this thing is ever going to take off. We go back in our time machine to 1985 when Eric Sandberg Dement wrote that no one's going to really be carrying laptops very long.
These expensive portables could make it if the right software were available. Oh, I remember Eric Sandberg Dement. I remember his byline. Yeah. Well, but these were different laptops. But I guess in a way, you could say the same thing about the Vision Pro.
Yeah, it's the same
right?
argument too.
Yeah.
If there's only a killer app, if there's only a killer experience,
Right.
this is if the right software were available.
And if it wasn't gigantic.
Yeah, if it didn't hurt your arm to carry around.
And who would
Yes,
have
there
guessed?
are a lot of people who would like to be able to work on a computer at home, but would they really want to carry one back from the office?
That's a quote.
Yes. But they were a lot heavier back in the day.
If they were MacBook Airs, sure.
Yeah. This is 85, so the PC was only 4 years old. I mean, this is very early. This might even be, we might even be talking about, the Osbornes, things like that. He's talking.
Well, no, those were transportables. I got my Osborne in 81.
Okay. Well, there's only a few years after that. He's talking about the grid case laptop, gas plasma display.
So in
I remember that. Yeah,
2064,
orange. They were orange.
Yeah, I remember the grids.
in 2064, we'll have that device.
So there's the difference in years.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoy it. How old will you be in 2064?
How old will I be? I'll be dead.
No, you won't.
Because of
your teeth will be
climate
still here,
change.
though.
Yeah, we'll just have boiled alive.
Yeah.
2064. Wow.
See, that's youth today. Yep. We just heard it.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you, you boomers. See what you left us?
yeah. It
Thanks,
reminds me
dads.
that tomorrow
Micah, the
My
long
two
running joke
dads.
is this is my podcast with my two dads. One time a friend of mine texted me and was like, "Oh, Paris, how's that podcast with your dads going?"
Has your father had any
we're
comment
actually
on this?
older
Paris?
than your dad.
My dad, every time he hears this, is like, "Excuse me," and I was like, "Yeah, you're my third dad, of course."
You're my third.
Wow. Wow. Tomorrow we will be talking about climate change because Stacy's Book Club, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, will be about a very interesting sci-fi book from Paolo Bacigalupi called The Water Knife, which is about a near future where water is more valuable than gold. And it's an interesting book. You finish it finally? After I finished it, I'm talking to John, who also read it. He loves sci-fi. I kind of revised my opinion of it. It was very violent, very brutal. But it made some good points. It's an interesting book, and it is about climate change. So we will talk about that tomorrow. If you're in Club Twit, if you're not in Club Twit, it's not too late. You could join right now. $7 a month gets you ad-free versions of all of our shows. It gets you all the programming, like Micah's iOS Today, the great show he does with Rosemary Orchard. He also does Hands on Macintosh. We've got Hands on Windows with Paul Thurrott, the Untitled Linux Show, Home Theater Geeks. Lots of great programming inside the club. There's also the Twit Plus feed, which includes content from before and after the shows. And then there's the Discord, which is a wonderful hang, a really great social network. You're joining more than a podcast network. You're joining a community. We're all here together trying to understand what's going on in this world around us and making the best of it and understand technology. And I think we've got a mission to do, but we need your help. Because as everybody's starting to realize, ad-supported programming, it doesn't have a great future. $7 a month, that's all. Twit.tv/clubtwit. And I thank you in advance. We crossed the 11,000 member number a couple of days ago. And people are saying, well, that's great. You're making a ton of money. Well, first of all, there is a commission that we have to give to Patreon. But also, this is an expensive operation, and we could probably do it cheaper. But it doesn't even cover our payroll yet. But it will if you join.
Mailing that Vision Pro back costs money, people.
Hey,
True,
I would like
restock fee.
I would love to keep the Vision Pro, but we really can't.
We can't, yeah.
Yeah, we really can't. We're trying to be sensible. So if you can help us out, I appreciate it. The money doesn't go in my pocket. It doesn't go in Lisa's pocket. It goes in Micah's pocket and John's and Benito's and the people who put together these shows and work so hard to do that. So thank you in advance. And by the way, Paris and Jeff's. Paris Martineau writes for the information. You can send her a tip.
She does more than write. She reports for the information.
Yeah, I kind of glossed over the fact, but you actually went out and talked to the guy who was driving in the Vision Pro. You actually talked to him.
That was my friend Caroline Haskin, a reporter. Yes,
yeah. A fellow reporter.
These reporters hang out together.
They actually work hard to give us the truth, and I appreciate it. We need journalism. And the information is a great example of that. 267-797-8655 is her signal number if you want to message her with a tip at Paris Martineau on all the better platforms. Thank you, Paris.
Thank you, Leo.
Jeff Jarvis, soon to retire director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. His books are at gutenbergparenthesis.com, of course.
But what's not there, I forgot to put the link up, is also, don't forget the audiobook version of the Gutenberg Parenthesis is finally now out.
Woo! Lisa and I have been waiting for that because you know what? We like to lie in bed, hold hands, and listen to great novels. And
TMI.
I can't wait to listen. She actually said that.
On big Vision Pro.
I started reading it to her, and she said, let's just wait till Jeff does it.
And he said, ouch.
So we will be listening, I promise. And thank you, Micah Sargent, for stopping in.
Yay,
we love
Micah.
Micah.
It was so
It
great.
was a pleasure. Thank you for
He does Hands
having
on
me.
Mac, Tech News Weekly
Your
on
forehead
Thursdays.
is back to normal.
It is.
It's still a little red. And he's also on Ask the Tech Guys every Sunday with me, and that's a fun show. Thank you, Micah. Appreciate it. We do This Week in, what was it, Guerrilla Gardening every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. The live stream is at youtube.com/twit. But, of course, the best way to consume this is on demand whenever you've got a moment. You can get shows at our website, twit.tv/twig. There's a Twig YouTube channel dedicated to our video shows. And, of course, you can always subscribe in your favorite podcast client. Just look for This Week in Google. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Jeff, Micah, Paris. We'll see you next time on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.
Hey, I'm Rod Pyle, editor-in-chief of Ad Astra Magazine, and each week I join with my co-host to bring you This Week in Space, the latest and greatest news from the final frontier. We talk to NASA chiefs, space scientists, engineers, educators, and artists, and sometimes we just shoot the breeze over what's hot and what's not in space, books, and TV. And we do it all for you, our fellow true believers. So whether you're an armchair adventurer or waiting for your turn to grab a slot in Elon's Mars rocket, join us on This Week in Space and be part of the greatest adventure of all time.